Okay, great. Great, so we're gonna get started. If you have any side conversations, please take them out or outside. This wall does carry over. So let's get started. It is 6:43 p.m. and we finally have quorum. So I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:43 p.m. We are having some audio issues, so all reports during business session will be made by board members in the room. And we will get started. So this is the February full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 2. And we will start with and I'm calling this meeting to order, I believe because I did it when the camera was not on. And I'm going to turn it over to our secretary, Emma Smith, and she will do the roll call.
Thank you, Valerie. Good evening, everyone. All right. Susanna Aaron. Will Banesh. Keen Berger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Anita Brandt. Amy Brenna. Amy? Oh, thanks, Amy. Rich Cacapolo. Nina Chen is absent with notification. Valerie De La Rosa. I'm here. Chris Dignas. Arturo Fernandez is absent with notification. Maura Fitzgerald. Thank you. Stella Fitzgerald is absent with notification. Cormac Flynn. Susan Gammy. David Gruber. DJ Jane. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Patricia Laria. Janet Liff. Benjamin Listman. Oh wait, he's absent with notification, pardon me. Ed Ma. I don't see him yet. Paul McDade. Erica Olson. Brian Pape.
Present on Zoom.
Thanks, Brian. Donna Raftery. Lois Rackhoff. Bo Riccobono is absent with notification. Sean Ryan is absent with notification. Rocio Sands. Shirley Secunda. Thank you. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith. Present. Chenault Spence. Thank you, Chenault. Sean Sweeney is absent with notification. Monica Weiss is absent with notification. Susan Wittenberg. Here. Anthony Wong. Excellent. Eugene Yu. Okay. We do have quorum. Thank you.
Great, so now we're going to move to our public session, which I will run since our first vice chair is not here yet. So we're going to start with non-agenda items here in the room. So we have Aaron Piskapink. Hi. Please come up here. So again, just while we have you come up, and then the next person will be Lois Rackhoff. So 2 minutes. So 2 minutes for public session. Great.
Hey everyone, I'm Erin Pisco-Pink. I'm the Executive Director of the Soho Broadway Initiative. Just wanted to come say hi, maybe meet some new faces tonight, and also let you all know that we recently filled our Field Operations and Engagement Manager role. Brian Kirk started with us last week, so he's around for all kind of street life, quality of life sort of needs. So feel free to reach out to him or myself or Brandon, who many of you know, anytime. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I'm talking to you as the community director of the Edgar Allan Poe Room. This is a free and open to the public event. We're going to have, it's Friday, April 10th at 6 p.m. at 245 Sullivan Street, Furman Hall. I will give the DM and our chair more information about RSVPs. We have invited the Bronx Poe Cottage to come to the Poe Room at NYU, and we're going to delve into the differences and what the rehabilitation of the Poe Cottage did in the Bronx. So it's open, it's free to the public, April 10th, Friday, 6 p.m., 245 Sullivan Street and Furman Hall, and I will be sending out emails, and you just RSVP, and it's free, and we're having a reception. So the program is from 6 to 7, and then a free reception, food, drink, and soft drinks and wine and beer. And I'm hoping to get vegan food at 7 p.m. in the Poe Room. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lois. Next, we're going to go to agenda items. So we're going to start with 375 Lafayette. While I am going by subject matter, I understand there are people that are here to speak on more than one. So I'm not going to call on you twice, but I am doing it by subject matter, if that makes sense. So we've got 375 Lafayette, 20 Great Jones, some Rachel Morrow, then Vance Trimble. So if you just come up and line up, and then Dan Miller and Irina Vainberg, and then Vasily Strela, and we'll get all those here in the room for that one. Thanks.
Shall I? Okay. Hi, my name is Rachel Morrow. I've lived on Great Jones Street for almost 20 years.
Rachel, would you be a dear and speak into the microphone?
Can you hear me now?
Great.
Okay. My name is Rachel Morrow. I've lived on Great Jones Street for almost 20 years, and I'd like to thank the committee, the Landmarks Committee most specifically, for its thoughtful consideration of all three NoHo applications, and for listening to our concerns regarding the impact each would have on our historic district. I know it was a lot to tackle in 1 week. I'd like to specifically speak about the proposed development at 375 Lafayette. Great Jones Street has a distinctive scale, rhythm, and masonry character that contributes significantly to the identity of the NoHo Historic District extension. Located within 23 feet of the proposed new building is the much admired and immensely popular 4-story Beaux-Arts-style firehouse, designed in 1898 by Ernest Flagg and Walter Chambers, and declared an individually designated landmark by the City of New York. It is also listed in the National Register of Historic Places. That building and every other 5 to 7-story historic building on Great Jones Street will be dwarfed and overwhelmed by this proposed behemoth unless significant modifications to the design, some of which are described in the board's resolution, are undertaken. I urge the board to adopt, as written, all three of the applications that are located in the NoHo Historic District Extension. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
My name is Vance Trimble. I'm a Great Jones Street resident. Thank you. The project cited at 375 Lafayette Street was included in the NoHo District Extension so that the Landmarks Preservation Commission could weigh in on the historical appropriateness of whatever new building would eventually be built on the site. I thank Landmarks Committee for recognizing this, and I support their resolution as is.
Hi, my name is Dan Miller, and the task before the committee and the board is to consider whether the building at 375 Lafayette fits in the historical context of its district. So let's consider that context. New York, during the late 19th century, when this district is designed to honor, was a place that was growing rapidly. Population was exploding, growing 247% between 1870 and 1910. This was a place where new technologies were springing to life. The elevator, cast iron buildings, steam-powered manufacturing. This was the cutting edge of its day. This was where you went to move fast and break things. This was New York, crackling with energy and life. Smash cut, 140 years later. Manhattan's population is stagnant. The city groans under the yoke of an unyielding housing crisis brought on by a massive refusal to build. And we are here considering whether this building is too large. Seriously? The idea that a building is too large defies the historic context of this district. The people who established the things that make this historic district historic would hold that idea in contempt. They would look at us dithering for months about whether to replace a parking lot with the proper shade of terracotta, and they would think, what is wrong with these people? So I urge you, honor the historic context of this district. Do your job as a Landmarks Preservation Commission and vote down these resolutions that attempt to limit the size of housing out of NIMBY concerns rather than any actual concern for historic preservation and appropriateness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just to clear up any confusion, we are not the Landmarks Preservation Commission. We are Manhattan Community Board too. So just for anyone who might be confused, please continue.
Hi, my name is Irina Weinberg. I live on Great Jones Street, and I would like to thank the board for listening to our concerns. I've lived on Great Jones Street for 15 years, and I would really appreciate that the project is modified so that its bulk, sheer monotony and size are put in more historic context with the neighborhood, with our street. And I would like to support passing the resolution as is.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vasily Strela. I live on Great John Street for 15 years. I would like to thank Community Board for recognizing our concerns about the size of the building. And I urge strongly the full board to pass the resolution as is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Kevin Carrillo. Are you here in the room with us? Kevin? Kevin Carrillo, Tina, Yuval, Lion, Asher Lasday. I'm not sure if you're on Zoom or in person. Asher Lasday and Dino Budovic. So if you guys could line up and go ahead and get started.
All right, I'm Kevin Carrillo. I'm a resident of East 4th Street in NoHo, and I support the Landmarks Committee resolutions rejecting these applications. Specifically, 27 East 4th Street endangers the structural integrity of the adjacent Merchant House Museum. I also support increasing affordable housing supply in New York City. However, the proposed 375 Lafayette is largely luxury housing and appears structured to avoid higher wage requirements under 485X. It would also overwhelm Great Jones Street, and its design is out of character with the district. Likewise, 56 Great Jones, the 25-story tower's cantilever also intrudes on the historic streetscape and sets a troubling precedent. These proposals are out of scale and inappropriate for a historic district. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yuval Leon. Thank you to members of the Community Board for giving me the opportunity to speak today. As you can probably hear, I'm not originally from here, but I've lived in New York for over 25 years and on Great Jones Street for the last 2 years, so I'm relatively new to the area. But part of what drew me to the neighborhood is its distinct character and the diversity of the community. The proposed development at 375 Lafayette Street would take away from both of these. First, the scale and bulk of the development is not consistent with the contextual framework that governs the NoHo Historic District extension. In plain English, it's just too whoppingly big. 19 floors and 200 feet tall, spanning half of the block and dwarfing the mostly 5- and 6-story buildings on Great Jones Street and the surrounding area. The proposed building will visually overwhelm the block, and its design and color is monotonous and boring, not in line with other buildings on the street. So the plan needs to be scaled down and broken up. It's important for me to say that I recognize the urgent need for more housing in New York City, and I also support the quota for affordable housing in new developments. But it is clear from the evidence I've seen that this development will not provide this kind of housing, as even its least expensive apartments will not be affordable to most New Yorkers, and so will not add to the diversity of our community. Finally, I also want to speak against the proposed developments at 56 Great Jones Street, which is also just too massive for the neighborhood, and at 27 East 4th Street, which could threaten the safety of the Merchants House Museum, a neighborhood and national treasure. Given all I have said, I urge the full board to pass the resolutions from the Landmarks Committee as is, which oppose each of these applications. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to pause the public session. We have an elected official on Zoom. We have Councilmember Harvey Epstein. And so we're going to hear from him briefly, and then we will go back to the public session. So thank you for your patience. And Councilmember Epstein, are you with us? Are you with us? We'll take one more. Let's go. Okay, we'll go back to the public session. So we have, hold on. Are you Dino? Okay, great. Dino, let's hear it.
Okay. So yes, I'm Dino Buturovic. I'm a resident of NoHo for the last 25 years.
If you could speak into the microphone. Yeah, you can hold it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm Dino Buturovic. I'm a resident.
Hold it like right up here. Like, so you have to hold it right, like you need to hold it right up to your mouth.
It doesn't seem, does it?
I'll teach you.
Yeah, okay, all right, perfect. So I'm a resident of NoHo for the last 25 years, and I'm speaking in support of the resolutions of the Landmarks Committee regarding NoHo, but I'll speak specifically about 375 Lafayette Street. And I thank the committee for really very careful and rigorous inquiry, the findings they put into resolution. And I also thank the community board for the opportunity to speak. So I want to reiterate that I and all my neighbors in the 13 units building in historic district where we live, but also everybody else I really have met in the neighborhood, oppose in the present form the proposed development at 375 Street, located in the NoHo Historic District Extension. Historic district designation is not something abstract, it's not just an abstract title. That's something that many of us who live here for many years have learned to experience as a saving grace of the city living. It reflects a determination that contextual scale and architectural coherence require and are worthy of protection. They are a public good, not at all only for this neighborhood, but rather for the entire city and broader. Witness all the people from all over the city and broader who besiege every day its historic character, and its historic character benefits absolutely everybody. When substantial departures from this contextuality are granted, the implications extend beyond a single site, even when it is not as enormous, and this one is really huge as this one, and compromise those characteristics of the landmark district that led to its designation. They also establish precedent that shape future applications and gradually erode the district designation standards, and with them the historic character of the district. I'm saying the obvious. But that this project cannot possibly pass the muster specified by landmarking criteria must by now be clear to everyone. There has been extensive hearing, visual and quantitative evidence is abundant. If there is still a debate, the debate is not anymore about the aesthetic points. That is why it may be pertinent to clearly state that I and my neighbors support increasing supply of permanently affordable housing everywhere in New York City, including my neighborhood, assuming that constructions are in compliance with zoning, building, preservation laws and regulations.
And Dino, could we just wrap up with one last sentence, because we've got
So
time.
we urge the board to adopt a resolution as drafted, and we are confident that the board will do so. The board will then be moving to the Landmarks Commission's court, and all our eyes will be turning there, watching and making sure that
Thank you so
LTC
much.
fulfills its statutory
Thank
duty.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We've just a time limit. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time this evening. Okay, so now we have Councilmember Epstein, who's here with us on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't be there in person. Hopefully I'll be able to make it next month, but I just really wanted to stop by. I really want to thank the board for their leadership. I know you're dealing with a lot of important things, and obviously Merchant House, which is in my district, is a really important site. And, we've been there numerous times over the last couple of weeks, and obviously the Underground Railroads, revelation and the concerns about the adjacent properties impact. I've already talked about this a lot, so I really applaud the board and moving forward to protect what it can in the Merchants House. Really just be mindful of what we can do, especially for a commercial building in our neighborhood. Um, I want to talk, doing our Black History Month event next month. So I know Monica, who my reps put it in the, probably handed down, so hopefully put it in the chat. We'd love to have people come. We're going to honor some community leaders. It's a really nice community building event. For nonprofits that are here, Councilman Marte and I are doing an event. We're basically next Thursday from 3:30 to 5:30 at the 14th Street Y. Just going to be available if people want to talk to us about if they need operating or capital dollars and they want some time with us. I think it's really important for people to be able to meet with their elected officials and talk to them about their needs. Doing a lot of work I'm the chair of the Consumer and Worker Protection Committee of the City Council. We're having our first hearing on Monday on the 23rd. Talk about overall consumer protection issues that are going on. Obviously, we've seen a lot of consumer issues and the federal government really failing to support us. So, there's a lot going on in the council, a lot to do. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I really applaud the effort of the board to protect our neighborhood and to protect the people who live in. And if the chair allows, I'll take a question or move on. If I know you got a busy schedule tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Councilmember Epstein, for these updates and taking the time to be with us this evening. Do we have any questions from board members for Councilmember Epstein in the room or any board members on Zoom? Wow. There you go. Okay, thanks so much. And we also have Monica from Councilmember Epstein's office here in the room in the back. So thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you, and thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. So let's continue back to the public session. Okay, hold on. So we finished with Dino. So that's who we had in the room for agenda items. And so let's go. Oh, wait. Okay, so let's see. Do we get this one? Jeffrey Weinstein?
Good evening, everyone. Hi. My name is Jeffrey Weinstein. I've lived in the neighborhood for 44 years. I was this tall when I moved in. And first on Great Jones and now on 4th Street. It's interesting that there's nobody here in supporting this big building. I just want to remind everyone in the room that our neighborhood has been landmarked. I was involved with the landmarking going back, I guess, about 35 years ago. And the landmark and the building is, the neighborhood is an M15B, which means 6 levels. And I've seen the deterioration of the character of the neighborhood by these large buildings, including the one on the corner of Bowery and 4th Street, which has been empty for the last 2 years after they tore down the Bowery Bar and built this behemoth. There's no one here in support of that building. That doesn't surprise me, and I hope it doesn't surprise you, and I hope you should make a note of that. We're all in favor of what you've done so far in the committee here, and we're still struggling to try to keep our neighborhood the character where it has been for all these years, and that building will do nothing but detract from what we have left here. And if there's anyone who believes that that any of those units are low-income housing, you can forget about it, because let's face it, it's not even realistic. So I'm urging the board to follow through and block this construction of this building. We have we're a landmark district, and pretty soon people are going to laugh when we tell them it is, because there's not going to be anything historic left in our neighborhood. So that's all I have to say, and I want to thank everyone that has come here to support
Thank you.
our position.
Thank you so much. Next.
Hi, my name is Rob Sakota. I'm a resident of Lower Manhattan. I'm here to speak in favor of allowing 375 Lafayette to move forward. I'm in NoHo quite often because it's a beautiful place. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to do. I think the proposed 375 Lafayette building is a beautiful terracotta building. I do not think it is out of proportion to the neighborhood. But I also understand that aesthetics are a subjective matter. People can have different views, and I certainly understand that many people here have a different view. But what I would ask you to consider is that as residents of Lower Manhattan, we are very lucky. We live in a beautiful area. We live in a historic area. We live in an area, as I said, where there's a lot to see, there's a lot to do, and we are so near transit that if we want to go someplace else, we have that option. And we are lucky, and I think we should also be thankful for that. And as we are thankful, we should consider how we can share our good luck with others so that they too may be able to live in Lower Manhattan like we do. So I'd ask you to all consider that as you move forward. Thank you.
Okay, can we get Dr. Smith a question? Can we get Dr. Smith a microphone? Can we get, for you, there's a question for you. Well, he's going to need a microphone to respond. Okay. So Dr. Smith, and then Cormac, do you also have a question? Okay.
When you say you live in, thank you
see.
for coming. When you say you live in Lower Manhattan, can you be more specific, please?
I live in Community Board 1, and I walked here 15 minutes away today.
Thank you. Cormac? And we have a hand in the back from a board member. Amy? What can we get a microphone? I can't, okay. We can't, oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Is that a board member? I can't see. Are you a board member raising your hand? I can't see. Then I'm not taking questions from the public. Ryder, did you have your hand up? Okay. Any other board members? Okay. Any board members online? Okay, with questions. Okay, so that's agenda items in the room. And so we're continuing on agenda items. I know there's some non-agenda items that have come in, so we'll do those at the end if that's all right with everyone. And I'm going to turn it over to our first vice chair, Eugene Yu, to run the rest of the public session with our speakers from the public that have signed up that are on Zoom. So.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda items on the Zoom. First, I will call, could we do it where I call 5 names, you promote them? As we go? Okay. Kathy Hallbreich, and then after Kathy will be Giorgio Bevenzi, and then after Giorgio will be Andrew Berman. But Kathy Hallbreich. And just a reminder, you have 2 minutes to speak. She's not online? Okay. Then we can move on to the next. There is, Kathy has her hand raised in the participant list. Yes. It's with a K, that's right. Okay. All right, Kathy, when you,
Sorry, I'm here. Sorry.
okay, great. You have 2 minutes starting whenever you.
Great.
start.
My name is Kathy Hallbreich, and I have lived and worked in proximity to the 3 buildings under consideration for 18 years. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I want to be clear that my concerns about 375 Lafayette are not arguments against affordable housing, which is essential to the well-being of our city. So is the built environment. If we lose a sense of what's distinct about our neighborhoods, we will lose our history and culture. No one wants to live in a homogeneous labyrinth. I'm arguing for a rethinking of the humongous massing of 375. It is simply too big, and recent rezoning assumed that LPC would require reductions when the bulk of a building overwhelms its historic context, which 375 certainly does. I also am arguing against the scheme to build one building, but call it two, thereby undermining the fair pay of those who will be laboring on site. People who may not be able to even afford one of the limited number of affordable homes that is being proposed, fewer than originally considered. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Next, Giorgio Bavenzi. Okay. Sure. We'll move on to Andrew Berman. Andrew, I see you online.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm Andrew Berman, speaking on behalf of Village Preservation and in support of the three resolutions regarding 375 Lafayette Street, 27 East 4th Street, and 354 Bowery. I want to commend the Community Board's Landmarks Committee for its extremely thorough and thoughtful resolutions on each of these. Briefly regarding 375 Lafayette Street, it is overwhelmingly large, completely inappropriately for this site and for the district, and the proposed design is unnecessarily monotonous and massive and should be changed. We all know that that parking lot site is going to be built upon, but it should be built upon in the right way. Regarding 27 East 4th Street, I completely agree with the Community Board's resolution. The Merchants House Museum is a treasure, and we do not want to see it endangered or threatened. And even if you believe that the precautions that are being proposed, if followed, would be sufficient, unfortunately, we've seen all too often that these protocols are not followed, and it just takes one slip up for irreparable damage to take place. Regarding the proposed cantilever at 354 Bowery, here as well, it is an overwhelmingly large, out-of-scale building. There's nothing we can do about that, but there is no need to make it bigger and more intrusive by approving the cantilever into the NoHo Historic District, which would be unprecedented. For the first and the third project, the only argument one could make in their favor is that they do include some small percentage of what is called affordable housing. But let's be very clear about what that means. The requirements for 60% of AMI for the income levels for the residents of those quote unquote affordable housing units means that it is a higher income requirement than the majority of New York City renters have. So while it will be more affordable than the super luxury apartments that will fill most of those buildings, they still won't be affordable to most New Yorkers. Thank you very much, and I urge you to pass those resolutions as is.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions from the board? Okay. Move on to the next batch of speakers. Giorgio. Okay, so we'll go to Giorgio Bavenzi. After Giorgio, we'll have Pi Gardner, and then Sky Gelatli. Giorgio, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I'm Giorgio Bavenzi. I'm a resident of East 4th Street, where I live and work on the block just north of the proposed development on 375 Lafayette, and a few lots removed also from the Merchants House. I speak tonight with respect to the 375 Lafayette, the 27 East 4th Street proposal, and last but not least, the 56 Great Jones Street and 354 Broadway proposals. I object to all those proposals for the reasons which I second that have been expressed by the CB2 Landmarks Committee. In a nutshell, with respect to 375 Lafayette, the sheer mass of the proposed building, I find it aesthetically very problematic. The height and the width and mass is abnormal on that block, as we all can see. It would kill entirely the nature of the fabric, the rich nature of the historical fabric of that block. And with respect to the two buildings wrapped in one envelope, I suggested in my prior testimony before Landmarks that that building should be broken down in two buildings by realizing a garden in the middle, planted with trees, and by doing so also improving the natural light into the apartments for both buildings. And by doing that, making the development aesthetically more acceptable on that historical block. The north facade, for the same reason expressed by the resolution, is very problematic as well, and should and deserves a lot of work. With respect to the Merchant's House, I think it's outrageous that a developer keeps coming back with bigger and bigger buildings. It's a flat denial that should be expressed. With respect to 56 Great Jones, I think that is outrageous to allow an expansion.
Thank you. We're going to move on. Can we mute?
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay. Next, we have Pi Gardner. Great. All right, Pi.
I'm coming. Good evening, all, and thank you so much for all you do. Hang on, let me just find my thingamabob. My name is Pi Gardner, and I've been director of the Merchant's House Museum for 30 plus years. Our 200-year-old landmark building has a decades-long history of damage from work nearby. Proposed building number 3 next door is taller and more massive, more risk, more irreparable damage, possibly catastrophic. As Andrew Berman just said, all it takes is one slip up. Built in 1832 and 90 years of museum, the Merchant's House is New York City's only 19th century family home preserved intact with its original furnishings. It is unique, like no other. It is not a reconstruction or a bunch of period rooms. Its value lies in its historic integrity, its unrivaled authenticity. It cannot be recreated or repaired or replaced. It is irreplaceable. It is a federal, state, and city landmark, the first landmark designated in Manhattan in 1965, and one of only 125 interior landmarks. Our ornamental plasterwork is considered the finest surviving from the period. Terrifyingly, plaster damage can happen below the surface, cumulative and irreversible. It may not show up for years. If construction is approved, we will have to move the entire collection of 3,000 items off-site to safeguard it, then bring in scaffolding to cushion the plaster ceilings, walls, and ornament on all 4 floors. And the museum will close its doors to the public for more than 2 years. That's $4 million. Who pays? The Merchant's House is already a one-of-a-kind landmark of national significance. Our recent discovery about abolitionist Joseph Brewster and the Underground Railroad expands its cultural importance by multitudes. A final reminder, the Merchant's House is not a private home. It is publicly owned. The city has an obligation to protect and preserve it for the citizens of New York, not just for today, but for generations to come. And now I'm getting off my soapbox. Thank you.
Thank you, Pi.
And just really quickly, while we get up the next names, there is a presentation from Pi on the CB2 website under, what day was that? The 11th Wednesday on the calendar under the landmarks meeting. It's posted there, a presentation regarding the Merchant's House for anyone that'd like to reference that. I'll turn it back over to you, Eugene.
Okay. So the next several names we have Sky Geladle, and then Rob Houtenbus, and then Carlo Ricci. Do we have Sky on the Zoom? Being promoted now, great.
Hi. Hi, this is Sky. Can you
Hi,
guys
Sky.
hear me? Hi. So thanks so much for obviously everyone convening today. My name's Sky. I both live and work in NoHo, have been a resident and lived in the area for over 20 years. Just tonight, just urging the full board to pass the resolution as is, and thank you for hearing all of our concerns to date. In relation to 375 Lafayette, from our point of view, my point of view, the proposed design is just much too big, too bulky, repetitive, monotonous, especially on the side of Great Jones Street and also with regards to the rear facade. We want, definitely want to advocate for considerable reduction in scale to the building, just design, for the size to be reduced down into two separate entities, and then for there to be like greater variety, variation in detail, and also in color and material of the books. Those are my.
Okay. Thank you, Sky. Next, we have Rob Houtenbos. Rob is promoted.
Yep. Good evening. I'm Rob Houtenbos and live in a building across the street of 375 Lafayette Street, the parking lot. And thank you for letting me speak. It makes good sense that this parking lot is being developed. Thoughtful development definitely can benefit the neighborhood, support local businesses, supply desperately needed housing, and help keep the area economically active. That said, living in an historic district comes with real constraints. Approvals for something as simple as an intercom, a modest facade change, or a sidewalk detail can take months and multiple rounds of review by LPC at great expense. So it is hard not to feel a bit of a whiplash when a project of this scale, one that many residents experience as dramatically out of context, would be able to move forward in its current form. For that reason, I fully support the Community Board 2 Landmarks Committee's resolution as it is written, also for the other two projects. I understand that CB2 doesn't control zoning, but your voice matters. This is precisely where advisory bodies help signal whether the balance between growth and neighborhood character still feels right to the people who live and work here. If everyday functionality is treated as precious, while change of this magnitude is treated as inevitable, that balance deserves a closer look. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Rob. The next speaker we have signed up is Carlo Alberici. After Carlo will be Cindy Schwartz, and then Asher Lasday. So Carlo Alberici.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlo Alberici. I'm a resident of the NoHo community for over 15 years. To be clear, I would like to record that I am against the proposed development at 375 Lafayette Street. And I fully support the Manhattan Community Board to pass their resolution as is. The NoHo Historic District extension is defined by a consistent 4 to 8 story character. No existing building in the immediate vicinity exceeds 11 stories. At 19 stories and 195 feet, the proposal is nearly double the height of the district's upper range, and this diminishes the prominence of the nearby individual landmarks. Approving a 19-story building here sets a dangerous precedent. I also think that an 8 to 10-story contextual building would achieve much the same housing goals without compromising the integrity of the NoHo Historic District. I'd like to thank everyone for the hard work that the board's put in and for giving me this time to express my opinion. Thank you. I yield the time back.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Cindy Schwartz. Okay, so Cindy, if you'd like to speak, you don't need to use the camera, but if you'd like to speak, go ahead. Okay, so Cindy's rejoining as a panelist.
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. So go ahead and give your testimony.
Thanks. My name is Cindy Schwartz. I'm a resident of 43 Great Jones Street. That's located right across the street from the proposed 375 Lafayette Street project and very close to the other two proposed projects. My husband and I are raising 2 children on this block, and we love living here. Particularly concerned about the proposed design of 375 Lafayette, as it is much too big. Design is very bulky, monotonous, repetitive, especially considering the surrounding neighborhood, in particular, Great Jones Street. While I support affordable housing for New Yorkers, I think this is a term that is thrown around a lot, and it seems unclear due to the required income levels how affordable this housing would actually be. I urge the board to pass the resolutions from the Landmark Committee as is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have, I'll read the next 3 names, Asher Lasday, Carol Putra Sizzy, I'm sorry if I'm messing up that last name, and then Mitchell Grubler. So Asher. I can see Asher in the list. Okay, so we'll go back toward the end if they've come on. So Carol.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Carol Putre-Chez here, speaking for David Mulkins, Bowery Alliance of Neighbors. There are 3 recent building proposals in NoHo that are each destructive to the character, context, and existential future of the NoHo Historic District. Once again, the developer seeks to erect a 9-story tower next to the fragile Merchants House Museum, one of the city's oldest structures and one of the few New York City residences whose interior as well as exterior are New York City landmarked. Engineering experts have testified that the 9-story tower would severely damage or destroy entirely this irreplaceable treasure. A 19-story tower being proposed for 375 Lafayette Street on the corner of Great Jones is part of the NoHo Historic District extension, but a dull, oversized design is no way seeks to acknowledge or enhance the context or character of the surroundings. Likewise, a 25-story monolithic monster planned for 56 Great Jones Street is much better suited for Midtown, corporate, or Dubai. Located on a parcel excluded from the NoHo Historic District, its height is allowable as of right, but the thousands of extra square feet bulk it seeks to cantilever over the landmark 354 Bowery adds insult to injury. In 2008, CB3 voiced great concern that the parcels excluded from the NoHo Historic District could, in the wrong hands, be destructive. Now, the Soho NoHo redistricting combined with the City of Yes have brought us to the sad, sobering moment. Please reject the overreach of all 3 of these building proposals. And from me, on a personal note, to the developers, you are turning our historic neighborhoods into a soulless concrete jungle. And LPC, live up to your name, Landmark Preservation Commission. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you very much. The next 3 names I have are Mitchell Grubler, E. Worthman, and then Marjana Sirik. Mitchell was promoted, okay.
Good evening. My name is Mitchell Grubler. I chair the Landmarks Committee of the Bowery Alliance of Neighbors, and I'm speaking about 356 Bowery. When the NoHo extension was proposed, in its wisdom and to its credit, this community board warned the Landmarks Commission not to carve out those corners of the Bowery from the historic district. The Landmarks Commission did not heed that warning. As a result, we have a proposal of a 300 tall foot, 25-story building towering over the Bowery and the historic district without any respect for the context of the historic district. Not in color, not in material, not in fenestration, and not in bulk. This is a developer is a bad neighbor. As a matter of fact, the architect's name is Fogarty Finger. This building is giving a finger to the historic district. Therefore, it should not be rewarded with a cantilever over the historic 1832 building. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next, we have E. Worthman, then Mirjana Sirik, and then Ashley Semrick. So, Mark, do we have E. Worthman? Okay.
I'm here.
Hello.
Yes, hi. My name is, to fill in the E, my name is Eric Worthman. Live in the neighborhood in the village. Have lived here for over 40 years. And just to agree with what several others have said, the nature of the Merchant's House, part of its value as a landmark is that its original construction. And speaking particularly about the 27 East 4th Street, which is proposed to be built immediately adjacent. I'm a retired construction engineer and have seen a number of projects like this where a larger building is to be built next to an existing older, smaller building. And often, despite the best guarantees and even the best intentions, there is some kind of damage, some kind of settlement to the existing building. And in the case of Merchant's House, of course, once that happens, it's not an issue of can the building be repaired. This is an existing original landmark building, and I just don't believe that there should be, the significant risk to the structure should not be incurred in this case for the sake of putting up a new building, and therefore I urge you to not allow, to recommend against this new building. And thanks for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. The next three names, Mirjana Sirik, Ashley Semrick, and then Mike McGinnis.
So Mirjana Sirik doesn't appear to be on my list.
Okay.
Ashley Semrick is promoted and ready to go.
Okay, so Ashley, we'll go to you. Ashley Semrick.
Hi, folks, and thank you so much. I am coming to you as a veteran educator here in New York City. I've been teaching in the classroom for 16 years. I'm also a museum educator and a licensed tour guide for the city. I wear the title of public historian because it's my job to interpret history for the public and to make sure that people understand the history of our city and our town and our neighborhoods and that they love it as much as we do. For 5 years, I've been working at the Merchant's House, actually volunteering because 90% of the staff there are volunteers who give our time to this historic landmark so that we can tell the stories of the Treadwell family and of Joseph Brewster, the abolitionist, who are there making this story for New Yorkers to learn about. There's no spaces like Merchant's House in New York, pretty much in the country. And so being able to preserve something like this is so uniquely New York. And when our guests, our visitors come into the museum, they really are transported back in time. And why we come to you tonight, or why I'm coming to you, is to say we don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell our visitors when they ask why for 10, 12 years, we've been fighting construction next door that would render our building unusable. We don't know what to tell them when they say, but you're a landmark, city, state, and federal. Why isn't that protecting you? Why isn't it protecting us? So I'm here this evening to ask that the building not be built at 27 East 4th Street, because we need to protect this piece of history. It's not a question of if the building will get damaged, much like Andrew Berman and Eric Worthman, sorry if I got your name wrong, just said. The building can very well get damaged. It probably will get damaged. And unfortunately, as Eric said, we can't repair a historic building like that. And so in order to preserve the history, in a moment, and this is what I said at the last meeting, in a moment when history is literally being erased and silenced in our country, and it's my job as an educator to continue to raise up the voices that we need to learn about,
Thank you,
I
Ashley.
really, is it time?
It's time, sorry.
Okay, so let's fight for the Merchant's House. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The next three names, Mike McGinnis, Amy Williamson, and then Cecilia McGinnis. Okay, so Mike McGinnis, if you'd like to speak, you are unmuted and you can begin your testimony. If I don't hear from you, I'll move on to Amy Williamson. Oh, Cecilia will, okay. Why don't we go to Cecilia then? Cecilia McGinnis?
Hello, my name is Cecilia McGinnis, and I live on Great Jones Street, and I've worked or lived in NoHo for 13 years. The points I'm about to make may sound redundant at this point in the meeting, but I think it just goes to show you how meaningful and serious these changes feel to so many of the residents who call this neighborhood home. I respectfully urge the full board to pass each of the Landmark Committee resolutions as written and to oppose these applications. The proposal for 375 Lafayette is out of scale and out of step with its surroundings. Its massing feels oversized and repetitive, particularly along Great Jones Street. I likened it to a cruise ship docked in a quaint harbor meant for sailboats. A meaningful reduction in scale, along with greater variation in materials and architectural detail, is necessary to better respect the historic context. Finally, while the projects at 375 Lafayette and 354 Bowery include units labeled as affordable, the required income levels place many of those apartments beyond the reach of most New Yorkers. And I think it is reasonable to question how affordable they will be in practice. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Cecilia. If we can go then next to Amy Williamson, and then after Amy will be Rob Levi, and then Ellen Fanning. So Amy Williamson. She has her hand raised. Yes, she's in the attendee list. Okay. Yes, the next one after will be Rob Levy and then Ellen Fanning.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Amy Williamson, and I'm a 15-year resident of the NoHo Historic District Extension on East 4th Street across from the Merchant's House Museum. The Landmarks Preservation Commission does a passionate job of enforcing rigorous standards for the repair and maintenance of all of the small residential buildings within this district. For the community board resolutions on these three insensitive and non-contextual proposed buildings not to pass as is would, in the view of our neighbours, make a mockery of the historic district and of the mission and competence of the Landmarks Preservation Commission. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your testimony, Amy. Next, then we have Rob Levy.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Hi, Rob, is that you? Okay, go ahead and
Yes,
speak.
can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Well, I have a generic statement, but then I want to come at you with a more practical concern. I wanted to say that NoHo is a rare urban ecosystem where light, scale, and memory coexist in human proportion. The prevailing buildings create a consistent street wall that preserves sunlight, sky views, and the pedestrian rhythm that defines our cherished life here. Clearly a 19-story structure, as everybody is been describing is completely out of character with the neighborhood. But on a practical level, and this concerns the Merchant House, I would like to bring to attention the saga of 14-16 Fifth Avenue, which is the new Robert A.M. Stern design building on Fifth Avenue between 8th and 9th Street. Beautiful design, by the way. However, in putting that building up, it destroyed the homes of the two buildings directly to the south. Foundations were impaired, the walls cracked, everybody had to be evacuated. People lost their homes. And I happen to know the firm that put up the A.M. Stern building, was very conscientious. All of this is to say that stuff happens. And that building, the Robert A.M. Stern building on Fifth Avenue, is dwarfed by comparison to the buildings that we're talking about today in the NoHo district. So I think that let this just be a warning from a longtime Village resident that these massive constructions imperil surrounding homes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. Next on our list, we have Alan Fanning, and then Robert Becker, and then I'll move to people that have not did not previously sign up but are wanting to speak. And the first will be Shashank Shamshamabad. So next is Alan Fanning.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Ellen Fanning. I've lived at 48 Great Jones Street for 23 years. We're the building that's going to be completely consumed by the as-of-right construction on the corner of Bowery and Great Jones. I just want to thank the full board for its careful consideration of the overwhelming opposition to the development of 375 Lafayette, the cantilever proposal over 354 Bowery, and the building next to the Merchant House. I support the board's resolutions as written and urge the board to push for a less bulky and more harmonious design of 375 Lafayette, which is currently unacceptable for all the reasons people have been stating. Thank you again to the board. Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you for your testimony, Alan. Next, we'll move on to Robert Becker. And then after Robert will be Shashank Shamshamabad, and then after Shashank will be Austin Celestin.
Hi, thank you so much for letting me speak. My name is Robert Becker. I've lived in the East Village, Soho, and NoHo neighborhoods for very close to 50 years, 49 years. I now live on the block of Great Jones where 375 Lafayette is proposed. I support the Landmarks Committee's rejection of the applications and urge the full board to pass the resolutions as is. I strongly oppose the oversized building proposed for 375 Lafayette. The NoHo Historic District extension is comprised of mostly 5 to 6 story buildings, with those above 8 stories being rare to non-existent. The building being proposed is 19 stories, more than twice the historic upper range. Most crucially, this building will physically and visually overwhelm Great Jones Street, which has no buildings anywhere near this scale. This building in no way corresponds to the NoHo Historic District Extension's architectural language, scale, materials, and its streetscape rhythm. I'd like it noted that I'm a strong supporter of affordable housing for New York City. However, 75% of the housing this project includes will be super luxury. The 25% affordable housing they plan to include at 60% of AMI makes it too expensive for most New York City renters. So the public good it serves is limited. Additionally, 375 Lafayette at Great Jones is actually a massive super building, which the developer has divided into 2 buildings that appear as one in order to avoid paying their prevailing wage obligations. Thank you so much for listening to my concern. Once again, I urge the full board to pass the resolution as is.
Thank you very much, Robert. So now we'll move on to speakers that would like to speak that are on the Zoom but did not previously sign up. First on that list is Shashank Shamshamavad. Okay.
Yes. Hi, I'm
Not
Tulsa. I
present.
should be
Okay.
signed up. I think I signed up earlier today. I don't know
I
if it
don't
showed up.
care.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Shashank Shamshabad. I'm a fellow at the New York Building Congress. Speaking in support of the proposed development at 375 Lafayette. The Building Congress represents more than 500 organizations and over 250,000 skilled professionals and tradespeople who build and maintain the city. We support this project because it delivers exactly what NoHo and Manhattan need right now: real housing and permanently affordable homes in a transit-rich neighborhood. 375 will add more than 200 new apartments, including approximately 60 permanently affordable homes on a site that's been underused for decades as a parking lot. This project will add affordability where none currently exists in a neighborhood where rents are far too out of reach for the average New Yorker. This project will also deliver on the promise of the Soho and NoHo rezoning, which was designed to allow housing, especially affordable housing, near jobs and transit. And this is one of those first projects that can make that promise real. This just steps from 5 subway lines is exactly the right place to add housing. Building near transit reduces pressure on other neighborhoods, supports sustainability goals, and helps keep the city accessible to workers, seniors, and families who want to stay close to opportunity. We respectfully urge Community Board 2 to support this project and work with the development team to help deliver much needed housing, including permanently affordable housing for NoHo and for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Shashank. All right, next, and again, these are speakers that are on Zoom that would like to testify but did not previously sign up. Austin Celestin, and then after on.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? You guys are frozen right now. I just wanted to see if you guys can still hear me. I can't see or hear any of you. You guys are all frozen. Hello? I'm gonna try logging off, come back on. 1 second.
I'm asking if you can hear me as a test of hearing online people. Do you hear me?
I think people on the Zoom can, but not
I
the.
can hear you. I'm online.
No, can you hear me in the room? I'll report that we've lost. I'll report that we've lost contact. Can anyone in the room hear what's going in the online, hear what's going on in the room? Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, Chenault, I can hear you and the others that are online.
But you don't hear the room.
No.
I just heard that it's crashed and they're trying to get it, pull it back together. Somebody in the room texted me and said that the connection has crashed, but they're trying to get it back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please stand by, says Valerie.
is an interesting story. I'm such like I need to go do a PhD. I just want to like preach the science of presiding, enforcing the rules.
Oh.
You know, I'm being a bit dramatic.
I may need to take a look at that here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shit. Mark, I'm being told that we can hear that they can hear the room on Zoom. Oh, okay. Okay. So can everyone hear me on Zoom?
Can we be heard in the room?
I can't hear you if you speak, but I just need to know if people on Zoom can hear us. Can someone put it in the chat because I can't hear? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. So I think we can. I think if everyone's okay, it's going to take a minute to get the visual of who's on Zoom, but I guess if people are testifying from Zoom, that doesn't work. I'm just kind of thinking through this to move us along. You know.
Well.
Oh, here we go. We're getting back on. It looks like it's just going to be a second. So I'll turn it back to our first vice chair in just a moment. There we go. So Eugene, I'm going to turn it back over. If you have your hand raised, if you've not had a chance to speak, you weren't called on, but you would like to speak, you do have 2 minutes. If you could raise your hand, and our first vice chair, Eugene Yu, will take us through the rest of the testimony. Thank you, everyone in the room. If you have any side conversations, if you could take them out of the room, that would be wonderful. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Valerie, and we're back to the public session. So we'll go back to the Austin Celestin was the next person on the list, and after Austin is going to be Susan Reindel.
Do you hear me guys this time?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ah, lovely. Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Austin Sullivan. I am an NYU graduate. So unfortunately, I only got the privilege to enjoy this area of the city for 5 years. I'm back home living with family. The last time I was actually at NYU when the Soho NoHo rezoning passed. I testified at that hearing in 2021. I was 18 years old. And I don't have the luxury to honestly think that much about character. When I hear affordable housing, when I hear 60% AMI, that's something that's within the range. As much as I have the privilege to still live at home with my parents, I know many others that don't. And I know many of my fellow students, fellow friends, fellow teachers that are moving out into Lower East Side, Chinatown, Bushwick, Ridgewood, and gentrifying those neighborhoods because they have slightly more means, because there's nothing built here. I'm not an architect. I actually avoided taking architecture classes, so I won't necessarily comment on the facade, but I can comment on the bulk. I think it is appropriate, and I also think it makes the project feasible. People are saying, oh, the parking lot will be built on. Don't be so sure about that. The zoning passed 4 years ago, and we're just now starting to get the first projects. If financing is an issue, that's going to hold up any building, no matter how flexible the zoning is. So I would hope that the community board would consider approving both 375 Lafayette Street and 56 Great Jones Street. And in regards to the cantilever, that extra square footage is 3 affordable units. That's 3 families that could be able to afford to live right next to one of the great parts of Manhattan. And to quote the Oscar-winning film *Inglourious Basterds*, I'd make that deal. As for the Merchant's House, I'm a lot more sensitive to a site, an individual site with that much history that people can go into and enjoy. And that's very, very fragile. And especially the straw that breaks the camel's back is that it's all market rate units there. So protect the Merchant's House, but approve the other 2 projects, because that affordable housing is irreplaceable. It is tangible to people. And maybe someday the privileges that you guys are testifying about enjoying, a new generation can enjoy. Thank you.
You can mute. We have Susan Reindel.
Sorry, was there something wrong?
Susan?
Do you hear me?
Susan, yes. Okay, Susan, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Susan Brindell. I live on Great Jones Street for 30 years and in Soho, NoHo for 50 years. Since I know that the building is going to be built, and I am a community member who has been at every single meeting for the Envision of Soho, NoHo, for the chats during pandemic, I show up and much more. I go to community board meetings. I love the neighborhood. I've chosen to live in the neighborhood for my entire adult life. And of course, I'm sad. I moved here when there was a little diner on the corner. And I understand change is inevitable. I always knew a building would be built across the street from me. And I am very, very on board for affordable housing. So that being said, since it's being built, and I kind of probably said, I just want to make it a little personal that I've been looking at the neighborhood with the vision of that building there since I saw the visual on last week's meeting. I've been looking at other buildings contextually on Lafayette, on the corridor, newer buildings that have been built, let's say in the last decade. And what I've noticed is that the buildings that are erected, that are larger buildings, that have more of like an ivory color, not kind of, they're just not as stark and harsh against the blue sky and in the entire context of the neighborhood. I do understand that that red terracotta is contextual with certain kind of historical buildings, but there are a lot of other colors of materials that still, when you build something tall and it's very massive, they just don't look as heavy in the environment. So I just wanted to say that, and I really thank the community board, and I also really thank the landmarks committee. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, Susan. So I'm actually going to go back, and there's a number of people that it looks like they signed up, but I don't see them on our Zoom. So I'm just going to quickly go through their names. If you hear your name called, raise your hand. Rob Sakota, Kevin Perillo, Tina, Mike McInnes, Yuval Lyon, Irina Vanberg, Asher Lasday, and then Dina Buchorovic.
Excuse me? Tina Mim was online, but now she's was in person. I don't know if she's still here.
Oh, Tina? Oh, okay, so do you want to speak? Okay, you can just come up.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'll make this really quick. So thank you all for tonight. I'm going to repeat a lot of the points that my neighbors already made, but I do have to speak up because I've been living on Great Jones for now over 16 years, and I love, love, love this street. Oh, sure, sorry. Hi. So I'm asking you to please pass the resolutions as is, which oppose the applications that are being considered. And I do want to state that I support all housing unequivocally. That's just like that's not even a question or anything. I am talking though specifically about 375 Lafayette. I just want to reiterate that it is way too big, too monotonous and repetitive. Just imagine, Great Jones Street is a small block. This is a 19-story building that's going to take up half of the block. So whatever you think architecturally, all that other stuff, that's ginormous. It's going to swallow up the block. So I think that in and of itself, if you see the picture, it's just shocking. So Great Jones Street has so much cultural and artistic history in all of the walls of the narrow, beautiful 7-story buildings. So I just really hope that this new development, however it turns out, that it be reduced significantly and be designed more in line with the other standards in the neighborhood. And I just want to say I'm all for progress and revolution and change and everything. I'm also very much in support of the celebration, preservation, protection of New York City's historic neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Okay. If there is anyone else on the Zoom that would like to speak on one of the agenda items, raise your hand. Otherwise, I think we've gone through everyone on the list that signed up and a few others as well. All right, so I will turn it back over to Valerie Larissa.
Thank you so much. With that, the public session is now closed, so we are going to, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Do I have a second? So I had Ryder, and second I had Shirley Secunda. Moving on, we now have reports to the public, so we have elected official reports. So if there are any principals or representatives from elected officials, you could just come up to the front here in the room, and then I will call on anyone from an elected official office on Zoom.
Hi everybody. I'll try to be quick. This is Connor from Councilmember Marte's office. Happy Lunar New Year. So a lot has happened. The council's ramping up in the last month or so under the new speaker and the new term. One thing, Councilmember Marte is honored to have been elected by his colleagues to co-chair the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus alongside Councilmember Julie Wan. So very excited to set the agenda for the caucus, anything legislative, budget related. Very excited for that role. Also, last month, Chris reintroduced our priority bill to end the 24-hour workday for home attendants in New York. I've talked about this a lot. Yeah, thank you. It's now under intro number 303. Yesterday, we were able to have our first hearing on the bill since 2022. And since the years that Speaker Adams indefinitely blocked the legislation from passing. The hearing was a great success. It was very moving. We had a lot of testimony from home attendants, very emotional, speaking about how their family lives and physical conditions have been affected by being forced to work 24 hours at a time, some up to over 100 hours at a time. So we're looking forward to moving forward with that bill. We also we'll be having a hearing on March 3rd for our bill Intro 310, which would require DOT to create a permanent bilingual street sign program in Chinatown and allow for a process to happen in other neighborhoods as well. That doesn't exist now, so the bilingual street signs are very inconsistent, and once a sign is damaged, it's often not replaced in another language, so we're very excited to make that a permanent fixture of our signage. Discretionary funding period, the discretionary funding period is just closed, so we're excited to sift through all these budget applications for local organizations, and I'll just echo what Councilmember Epstein mentioned about our meet and greet coming up next week. The 139 Thompson Street is a building that you all wrote a resolution on. It's in a historic district and it's slated for demolition based on landlord neglect. So we're having a rally and we wrote a letter about that. The letter already went out and the rally is tomorrow ahead of the LPC hearing next Tuesday. And then finally, we joined Speaker Menon's office along with Councilmember Epstein for a roundtable discussing issues with outdoor dining. So we found that to be very productive, and we're hoping that a lot of the issues that happen specifically in Lower Manhattan with all the density of restaurants can be incorporated into any legislation that comes in the future on outdoor dining. So, and we had your chair was present as well as other CB2 members. That's it. Any questions? Yes, or I don't think I can call.
Yeah, so do we have any questions from board members for Connor from Councilmember Chris Marte's office, Janine, and then we'll go to Cormac and then Rocio.
What's the next step for the No More 24 Act?
Yes, so we had our hearing. After hearing, it can be moved to a vote. That has to be calendared by the speaker, and so that's what didn't happen all 4 years last term. But we're really hoping to push, now it's like sort of a push to get the speaker to calendar as quickly as possible at an upcoming stated meeting where the whole council votes on legislation. So that's really all that's left. So we're really just focusing on that now. And obviously if that ever gets calendared, we'll let everybody know.
Yeah, I was wondering if the conversations with Speaker Menon on the outdoor dining included any talk about enforcement issues Because it seems from her public statements that her response to illegal activity now is to legalize it.
Yeah, no, I think she seems, you know, I can't speak for her, but you know, she's supportive of the program, and this is also in light of the bill introduced to make it year-round, which she also expressed support for. So, I mean, we're grateful that she's bringing people to the table and having a conversation, because that hasn't happened really up to this point. But enforcement is always kind of like the underlying concern, right? Because you can write as many rules as you want, but if the agencies aren't enforcing them, then there's really no point. We were pushing pretty hard for it to move back under DCWP because DOT did such a poor job of enforcing the program when it was temporary under COVID. So yeah, I mean, I think that kind of underpins every issue that gets raised is enforcing.
Rocio.
Hi. During the temporary COVID applications, there were many.
I don't think that's on.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Yes. During the COVID temporary program, there were many restaurants that were included, but after the new regulations, many have not applied and will not apply because it's very expensive and very difficult to get the approval. Do you know what percentage of restaurants and how much money the city is losing by making it so hard for business owners to open up restaurants, outdoor dining?
I don't have those numbers. I don't think. I know that there's been a couple hundred applications processed so far, as opposed to the several thousand that were admitted under the program. I do know that the vast majority of, like, the leading reason for that is processing times. DOT's been very slow. There's many more in the process right now for getting those applications through. So I know that a lot are applying that just have not been permitted because the rollout has been so slow.
I think also that a lot of them are not applying. Thank you.
Yep.
Great, no more questions for Connor from Councilmember Chris Marte's office, from board members in the room or on Zoom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Elaine Stone from Assemblymember Glick's office. Nice to see you all. So just a few updates from Assemblymember Glick. You know, very busy up in Albany. We're in the peak of budget season, and so, you know, a lot of our focus is on that. And so, you know, just a lot of work there. And then I just want to put on everyone's radar that we are having a shred event in April. Yay. I know Brian Pape asked about that last time. So yeah, April 9th at St. Vincent's Triangle from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll have flyers, you know, distributed to CB2, but hope to see you all there with yeah, all your papers you want to shred. So yeah, great. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thanks for, are there any, apologies, are there any questions from board members in the room or on Zoom? Okay, thanks.
Hello, it's Andrew from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. Unfortunately, the Borough President isn't able to be here. So a couple things I want to announce is that first off, we have a new Manhattan Deputy Borough President. Her name is Misha Smith. Secondly, we also have a new Manhattan Borough Historian. His name is Harold Holzer. And then recently, the Manhattan Borough President, Brad Hoyman-Siegel, he was out there at Stonewall National Monument, along with other elected officials, to re-raise the pride flag because the LGBTQ community has been under attack by the Trump administration. And also, our office has received news that significant New York City hospitals will no longer be offering gender-affirming care to patients under 19. Gender-affirming care is life-affirming care, and the Manhattan Borough President will remain a forceful advocate for ensuring people have access to the care that they need. And in terms of upcoming events, we are partnering with the Studio Museum in Harlem for a free admission community event in honor of Black History Month. Please stay tuned for more information. Just a reminder, the Manhattan Borough President's swearing-in ceremony and community convention is this coming Sunday on the 22nd of February, 1 p.m. at Lincoln Center. If you still want to register, there is a wait list available on the Eventbrite, and just if you haven't registered yet. And we do have free tax prep clinics at the Northern Manhattan office, 431 West 125th Streets. It's for folks who are making $97,000 or less, families and individuals. And I guess I'll conclude by saying that, you know, the Manhattan Borough President's Office has been supportive of preserving the Merchants House Museum and to oppose any development next door which could potentially damage the museum. And we have been, we had met with DOT as well regarding the Canal Street redesign proposal. So happy belated Valentine's Day, happy belated Washington's birthday, President's Day, happy Lunar New Year, happy Black History Month, and happy Ramadan to everybody. And thank you.
Does any board members have any questions for Andrew in the room or on Zoom? Okay, thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other elected officials or elected official representatives in the room, so I'm going to go to who is on Zoom. So if you're here from an elected official or an elected official's office, representing them to give a report to Community Board 2 this evening, please raise your hand on Zoom. I know that we have Hayden Ryan from Assemblymember Grace Lee's office. Let me see if I recognize. We could promote Hayden. Okay. Hayden?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Happy Lunar New Year and happy Black History Month. I'm sorry I'm not able to be there in person. I had some trouble with the security at the door, but I'll keep it quick tonight for some updates. So, can everyone still hear me? Okay, great. So we recently hosted with with Senator Kavanaugh a very successful town hall. We had over 200 constituents join us, and so we were really happy we were able to have that meaningful community dialogue. I also want to mention that we're really concerned about federal ICE agents' activity in Minnesota, and so we're taking measures to protect our community here in New York. Assemblymember Lee has joined her colleagues to call for the MELT Act, the Radar Act, and New York for All. Common sense guardrails, you know, to ensure that accountability and protect our communities. We also stood in solidarity with the New York nurses as they advocate for their fair wages and working conditions. We were really happy to see that there was a deal reached, but we are still concerned that Presbyterian is not achieving the goal that they need. So we also joined them last Sunday to stand on that line. Otherwise, we'll be joining Councilmember Harvey Epstein next Thursday for his aforementioned Black History Month event. We'll also be presenting some awards, proclamations to prominent community members for their hard work. That's all the main updates I have tonight. Happy to take any questions. If not, thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for Hayden from Assemblymember Grace Lee's office, from board members in the room or on Zoom? And Hayden, if I heard correctly, you had an issue getting into the building. I just want to clear that up, or maybe reach out to us offline about that. I wasn't clear if that's what you were saying. Just so everyone knows, whether you're attending from the public or from an elected official's office, every person does have to get added in by NYU security. So I apologize if you had that experience, but we'll make sure that's clear to everyone. Excuse me?
Thank you. I appreciate you saying so. All right.
Okay. Yeah. They send an email out that you've been added to a list, so added to the list for security purposes. So again, I apologize you had an issue. We will try to see how we can mitigate that in real time. And sorry that you were not able to be with us in person. Okay.
Next month. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Any other elected official representatives on Zoom? Okay, seeing none. Then we will go to the chair's report. That's me. Which means we're moving along. I don't really think no one's excited to hear that. Okay, so we've had a really busy month. We sent a letter to as you know, we have several board positions on Stonewall National Monument, so we did send a letter to the U.S. Department of Interior, the Secretary of the Interior, which houses the National Park Service, condemning the action of removing the pride flag at Stonewall National Monument. Many other things going on, but I want to move this through very quickly. Hold on, let me just grab this. All right. All right, so a couple of different things. I do have committee assignments. I can go through some of them now. If I can pull this up really quickly, but I'll do the formal introduction. So let me just grab that because I know a lot of people are very interested. Just 1 second. All right, so I will just name some of these. Most have one, and there's a few that we're filling in. So Nina Chen will be on Parks and Waterfront and on the Education and Human Services Committee. Sean Sweeney will be on Landmarks and Public Aesthetics, and Sean is already transitioned from a public member to a full board member on our Land Use Committee, so I'll just repeat that here. Paul McDade is on SLA 2, and DJ Jane is on Street Activities and Resiliency, and Sean Ryan is on Landmarks and Public Aesthetics. And so if I only said one committee, it's because the other ones are in progress. So there's a few follow-ups, but I know everyone is really chomping at the bit to know what these are. Emma Smith will move to Land Use, and Arturo Fernandez will move to Landmarks and Public Aesthetics. From, I'm sorry? From Education and Human Services to Landmarks. And Will Benesh is going on to the Parks Committee and is moving from cannabis licensing to parks. And so those are the committee appointments that I have at this time. And thank you very much, everyone, for your patience with that process. As you know, we are balancing a succession plan that we have, as well as ensuring the balance of committees, as well as turnover and leadership succession. When we last spoke, I had announced, I can wait. Last time it announced the consolidation of Education and the Human Services Committee into the Education and Human Services Committee due to a leadership or due to a resignation. We are going to have a 60-day working group of Education and Human Services. And so I'll be in touch with each person that's currently on those two committees and then consolidated. As I said, there's some other pieces moving, and so I'll be in touch regarding that and when that process will happen. And so that's how Education and Human Services will be moving forward. Do not worry. We are working through ensuring that those needs in the community and inquiries that come into the office are being handled and rooted properly. Excuse me? Yes. Oh, you have a question? Yeah. Oh, could we get a microphone to Lois? Just people on Zoom won't be able to hear, and then they'll ask me to repeat it, and I won't say the lovely words you say. And
yeah. Who resigned? What was the resignation?
I haven't gotten to resignations yet.
Oh, there's a list.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, Amy, do you have a microphone?
There was one.
I'm trying to finish the report, but I've asked questions.
Try this one. Just give me 1 second for this little.
Okay, good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I wasn't at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Could you briefly explain what this working committee is supposed to be doing, and what the end goal is, and how it's
You can see it in
structured?
the full board minutes, which is what is so wonderful about our process, that you can read about what
I
happened.
did read about it, but I'd like a little more explanation. Thank you.
Sure. So it is the Education and Human Services. As you know, we had a structural consolidation of our Schools and Education Committee and our Human Services Committee, as announced last month. We had a board member that was on both committees that was appointed to lead that consolidated committee. That board member has since resigned. And so our 30-day transition period, which I announced at exec and at full board last month, March 1st is when this working group, which I am now extending to 60 days, in order to hear from the committee. And as you've heard, there are some pieces moving around in terms of committee appointments. And so the next part of my report, if I can finish it, will maybe talk more about that process. So it's coming at a very critical time. So based on guidance from the Borough President's General Counsel, I have engaged, both Mark Diller and myself, our district manager, have engaged with the New York Peace Institute to lead the executive committee in a conflict resolution training. I know I would also like to extend that to the full board should we were able to get the budget, or perhaps get some additional funding as well from the Borough President's Office or from other discretionary funding, because training and board development training is a priority. Conflict resolution, as you know, we're about to hit term limits next year, and we want to make sure that we are all volunteers here, and want to make sure that we are all having fruitful, productive, respectful conversations and dealings with one another. And so it's just a nice, broad, general training that will start with the executive committee and committee chairs and officers, and hopefully we will be able to extend that training and work with the Borough President's Office to offer that to everyone. We deal not only with conflict within ourselves, but we also have, as you can see, we have very, as though this was a pretty calm and peaceful in our committee work as well, that we sometimes have conflicts that come up with either members from the public or applicants. So again, it's just great training. It's great training for life, to be honest. It's a good skill to have. So we hope that, should our budget allow, we'll be able to offer that. It's an important step as we interact with one another, the public, and city agencies and elected officials. Yes. Amy?
Yeah, I'm just coming to get a microphone. I love the idea that you're doing the peace training. That's fantastic. Is there anything in particular that made you do it now and not in another time? Has there been some issues that haven't been shared with the board in general, or I'm just curious why now and not,
As
6
I
months
said,
ago?
it's based on guidance from the Borough President's General Counsel.
That we should do something about this now?
Yeah.
Is something going on that we need to know about if the general counsel's involved?
Let me address that in my next part. Yeah? Okay. So, since we last met, we had 3 board members resign. 1 for time, lack of time and needing to prioritize some other things. Another board member resigned because they were moving out of the district. And a 3rd board member resigned due to harassment and intimidation. And so that's why my inquiry as the chair of this body to the Borough President's General Counsel was to ask, what is the board's obligation when a board member resigns due to conduct concerns? As you know, the Borough President has a code of conduct on the website. And that's about as far as I'm going to go here to this body in a public forum. The 3 board members who resigned are Ritu Chaudhry, Juliet Kay, and JJ Herrera Juan Herrera. Thank you. And I think that's enough for my report today. So I'm going to move on to the district manager's report.
Okay, so my name is Mark Diller, but apparently I'm imitating Inspector Clouseau today. So this is where I usually thank the expert who does the audio, except he has the stomach flu as of just this afternoon, so we wish John a speedy recovery and certainly a recovery in time for next month's full board meeting. I think you're all joining me in that, aren't you? Everybody online certainly is. So we thank him for his farmer service, and we pray that it is only a brief duration of illness. Anyway, thank God for the workaround, and thank you all for your patience with that. I hope she's still online to receive our thanks. Arlene was actually the person who helped us set up today, way below her pay grade, but she was here jumping in, so thank you, Arlene, as well as Valentina and Dorothy, our NYU hosts. And however difficult the audio is today, if we were trying to adapt to a whole new space that we didn't know, it would have been, well, we would have been starting the meeting about now. So thank you, NYU, so much. And thank you for Yosuke, who responded to my call at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to jump in on a moment's notice. So whatever works, it's thanks to him. We're gonna get to election of officers in a moment or two, I guess. But I want to preview a couple things for you. By show of hands, did anybody pick up the QR code to, or yes? Okay, great. That's why there aren't any out there. Good. And or you may have received the email for the test. Now, per our bylaws, if we're using a hybrid or online voting mechanism, we're supposed to test it. We did last year. It's exactly the same form. I just changed. I'm just changing the names when we know after tonight who those names are. But in a circuit of caution, we're going to test it. So if at any time between now and the end of the meeting you have a moment to either access the QR code or the email I sent you, and please answer the 2 questions that are there. They're dummy questions, of course. This is not a straw poll. You can do it right now, and I will log into the answers, and we'll see that it works. In fact, I already know it works because somebody didn't follow instructions and answered the inquiry before we gave them the go-ahead, so I know that the sheet populates. And then my request to all of you is that next month, when all the audio works, that as many of you as possible and comfortable, vote online as you did last year, because in a way that'll make Andrew Chang's life easier. Our bylaws call for a tally committee, and the tally committee is composed of the borough president's representative. Apparently he doesn't get a vote, he has to do it. So thank you, Andrew, for confirming. Another elected official representative, and I'll be looking around the room later, and then a committee chair. And so I still need another elected rep and a committee chair to fill in those roles. And their purpose is to confirm the results of the election. If we use the online form, similar to what's in your test right now, it will automatically populate the results of the election, and there will always be an opportunity for abstain, by the way. So you don't have to, if you vote, you don't have to vote for every category or every office if you choose not to. That's always going to be your choice. The bylaws also call for me to report that there is an opportunity for self-nomination up to 1 week before this meeting. That was last Thursday. And the following people, the bylaws call for me to tell you who self-nominated. So the self-nominations that we've received for Chair, Valerie De La Rosa, for Treasurer, Anthony Wong, and for Secretary, Emma Smith. That leaves First Vice Chair and Second Vice Chair and Assistant Secretary, for which we currently have no candidates who have self-declared. Later on today, the floor will be open, I understand it, for additional nominations. And if you'll allow me a point of, I don't get a point of privilege as a district manager, but being a secretary is a terrific way, especially for newer members, to learn the board and to learn the procedures. So there's my little PSA. So we've covered the hybrid ballot. We've covered, so in the hybrid ballot, here's one thing I do want to extend. We'll say this again next month. But when you can only vote when, in effect, the virtual ballot box is open, and the folks who are eligible to vote are those who answer the business session roll call. So I can't send you the ballot in advance because I don't know who will and will not be in that. So it will take a moment after that business session roll call for us to formulate the email that will send you this the ballot. Okay, so that's just prep for next month, but I think it's worth the reminder. Okay, and again, the template is the same as last year. Moving on to other matters, the Village Interagency Task Force still has not reconvened, although we are still hopeful that it will, as well as other efforts in other parts of the district that have chronic problems with drug use and drug sales, as well as some of the other issues that come up with vulnerable people gathering. Today at the Civic Engagement Commission, we heard directly from Commissioner Van Auck of the Office of Mass Engagement, which is different than the Civic Engagement Commission, but they're working together. They have absorbed the former Community Affairs Unit. Unfortunately, they haven't absorbed all the people we knew there, but they've absorbed that, and apparently they are rebuilding it, and it will be bigger, and we should stay tuned at the end of March for a citywide program on engagement in general, and I have a feeling that will impact or at least relate to community boards in a very significant way. Moving on again, you've heard me talk about, and you've heard Janine talk about the Hope Count, where the Department of Homeless Services does a survey to try to gauge the number of unhoused folks who are living on our streets. It was supposed to be in January, and it was so bitterly cold that they moved it to February, where it was, in effect, snowed out. So now it's on Tuesday, March 3rd. Actually, it goes overnight into March 4th. There will also be a test of a pilot on civic engagement coming our way. More on that when we have the details. And then a final note that tomorrow will be our e-blast with the look-ahead March calendar and agendas. If there's any last-minute additions, please get them to us in the morning tomorrow so we can push it all out. Unless there are questions, that's my report. I see Dr. Smith.
Can we get a microphone?
Okay, the question was, it asked for a security code, put down test, C-E-S-T. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thanks. I didn't know if there was going to be any more questions or back and forth. Okay, so, okay. Oh, that's not until afterwards. Okay, got it. Okay. So that is done with reports to the public. We're going to start business session, so I'm going to turn it over to Emma Smith so we can get the roll call and we can get going.
Alrighty. Let's do it, everyone. And I've noted a couple folks who were not here at the beginning have arrived, but keep me honest as we go through. Susanna Aaron. Here. Will Benesh. Here. Keen Berger. Here. Carter Booth. Here. Thank you. Katie Bordenaro. Here. Anita Brandt. Here. Amy Brenna. Here. Rich Cacapolo. Here. Valerie De La Rosa. I'm here. Chris Dignan. Here. Mar Fitzgerald. Here. Cormac Flynn. Here. Thank you. Susan Gammy. Here. David Gruber is absent notification now. DJ Jean. Here. Susan Kent. Here. Ryder Kessler. Here. Janine Kiley. Here. Patricia Laria. Here. Janet Liff. Here. Ed Ma. I don't see Mr. Ma. Okay. Paul McDade. Here. Erica Olson. Present. Brian Pape.
Present.
Thanks, Brian. Donna Raftery. Here. Lois Rakoff. Here. Rocio Sands. Present. Shirley Secunda. Here. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith. Chenault Spence.
Here.
Thanks, Chenault. Sean Sweeney.
Here.
Thank you. Susan Wittenberg. Anthony Wong. Eugene Yu. Here. Thanks, folks. Still have fun. It's great that we still have quorum. So let's move this right along. Approval of the January 2026 full board minutes. Do I have a motion to approve, or are there any amendments to be put on the floor? Do we have a motion to approve the? So I have a first from Dr. Smith and a second from Shirley Secunda. Thank you. And so now we go to agenda item number 6, election of officers nominations. So as the bylaws state, members had the opportunity to self-nominate in writing to the district manager, which you heard already, and the district manager has reported on the nominations received to date. I will now open the floor for additional nominations for each office, beginning with assistant secretary and proceeding from the bottom up. When recognized for a nomination, you can either nominate someone, you can nominate yourself. It's really cool. And please clearly state both the name of the nominee and the office for which you are nominating them. So I'm now going to open up the floor. I now open the floor for nominations for assistant secretary. If you wish to nominate someone present today, and when I say present, I mean they are here in the room or they are on Zoom, as they have to be available to accept or decline the nomination. That's part of good old Robert's Rules of Order. So with that, if you wish to nominate someone present today, please raise your hand, either in the room or on Zoom, and I will recognize you. Okay, I have Erica Olson.
Eugene is in there. Eugene for first vice chair.
So we are not, so just to be clear, I've only opened up the floor for nominations for assistant secretary. We're going one by one. So
Sorry.
Eugene, you can, so it's kind of a moot, if you could just hold. And we will get to that one. So I'm going from the bottom up. So if you want to know what order they're going to go in, it's going to go assistant secretary, secretary, treasurer, second vice chair, first vice chair, and chair. You can also look on the letterhead. I know. I'm sorry that I don't have a great slide for everyone. So assistant secretary, are there, so again, if you wish to nominate someone present today, I see Erica, are we talking about assistant secretary?
Yes.
How wonderful.
DJ.
Okay, so we have a nomination on the floor for DJ Jane for the role of assistant secretary. Are there any further, so that is recognized as a nomination for assistant secretary, DJ Jane. So making sure everyone's got that notated. Do we have any further nomination? Are there any further nominations for assistant secretary? Oh, yes, and I did say that. DJ, we don't know if you're accepting or declining the nomination. Thank you so much, Susan.
I'll accept it.
DJ Jane has accepted the nomination. Thank you so much for agreeing to step up. Thank you, Erica Olson, for the nomination. Are there any further nominations from board members in the room or on Zoom for assistant secretary? Having recognized all members requesting to make a nomination, the floor for assistant secretary is now closed. For secretary, nominations received as reported by the district manager include Emma Smith. I now open the floor for any nominations for secretary. Please raise your hand if you wish to nominate someone who is present here today on Zoom or in the room for secretary. I'm not seeing any hands on Zoom. Is that confirmed? I'm not seeing any hands in the room. So having recognized all members requesting to nominate for secretary, the floor for secretary is now closed. Thank you. We have Emma Smith as our nomination there. So next, we are moving right along to treasurer. So for treasurer, I now open up the floor for nominations for treasurer. As you know, we did we receive, we did receive from the district, I apologize. We did receive from the district manager's report of nominations a nomination for Anthony Wong. So I now open up the floor for nominations for treasurer. If you wish to nominate someone present today, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. I'm not seeing any hands in the room or on Zoom. So there seems to be there are no further nominations for treasurer. So having recognized all members, requesting to make a nomination, the floor for treasurer is now closed. I will now open the floor for nominations for second vice chair. If you wish to nominate someone present today, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. Emma. I'd like to nominate Donna. Donna, will you accept or decline this nomination?
I accept the nomination.
The nomination has been accepted by Donna Raftery for second vice chair. Are there any further nominations for second vice chair in the room or on Zoom? Having recognized all members requesting to make a nomination, the floor for second vice chair is now closed. I now open the floor for nominations for first vice chair. If you wish to nominate someone present today, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. Erica Olson?
Eugene.
Eugene, do you accept or decline this nomination?
I'll accept it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Erica, for the nomination. Thank you, Eugene, for accepting the nomination. Are there any further nominations for first vice chair? Seeing none, having recognized all members requesting to make a nomination, the floor for vice chair is now closed. For chair, I recognize that I have been nominated already in the nominations report. I will now open the floor for additional nominations for chair. If you wish to nominate a board member who is present, please raise your hand so I can recognize you in the room or on Zoom. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Having recognized all members requesting to make a nomination for chair, the floor for chair nominations is now closed. And that concludes nominations for our officers for the 2026 to 2027 term. And as Mark reported, next month we will have the election at our full board meeting. And since all of these are uncontested, everyone who is nominated will have 2 minutes to be able to make a statement at the right, it's 2 minutes. 2 minutes to make a statement at the during the election part of the agenda at the March full board meeting. And these board members can also, that are nominated, can also submit something in writing to be distributed to the full board. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Yes.
The written submission is due by the bylaws at noon on Friday, the date preceding the March board meeting. So that would be, it's the 19th, so it's the 12th. It'd be March 12th.
Okay. So the Friday is March 13th.
13th, March 13th.
So Friday, March 13th, according to the CB2 bylaws, thank you so much, Mark, for adding that in, is when we'll just say close of business, and we will send out a reminder. Oh, noon. Oh, it said noon. I apologize. Thank you. Noon. Thank you. Noon Eastern time. Okay, great. So with that, let's move right along to our resolutions from standing committees. We have schools and education. Patricia Laria. Thank you. And again, for everyone giving reports today, please limit your report to the therefore be it resolves. And if board members have additional questions, that's when we can get any sort of additional detail. Thank you.
Okay. Resolution in support of Literacy Academy Collective Schools and expanded public investment in evidence-based literacy. Therefore be it resolved that Community Board 2 urgently implores NYC Public Schools and the incoming Chancellor should reaffirm and continue the NYC Reads initiative, maintaining a clear, consistent focus on literacy as a top instructional priority across all elementary and middle schools. 2, NYCPS should deepen its investment in high-quality teacher training by ensuring robust, ongoing professional development aligned with the science of reading, with particular emphasis on the effective rollout and implementation of evidence-based foundational skills curricula. 3, the New York State Education Department and state policymakers should continue to coordinate efforts through the path forward to ensure that teachers graduate from educator preparation programs to teach reading to all students. 4, city and state education leaders should coordinate efforts to align teacher preparation, certification, curriculum adoption, and intervention models with evidence-based literacy practices ensuring coherence and sustainability across systems. 5, NYCPS, the Chancellor and the state education leaders to prioritize equity by directing resources, training, and specialized supports to schools and students with the greatest literacy needs. 6, and New York University to partner with NYCPS to establish a literacy academy collective school at the site committed for the Bleecker School, expanding access to high-quality evidence-based literacy instruction for schools with the most significant reading challenges in New York City. Be it further resolved that CB2 urges continued public reporting, transparency, and stakeholder engagement to monitor progress, share best practices, and ensure that literacy initiatives remain responsive to student outcomes and community needs. And it was 5 in favor.
Thank you. Is there any questions, comments from board members? Rocio, could we get a microphone to Rocio? And if there are any board members on Zoom that would like to comment or make a question, please raise your hand.
Patricia, I just want to thank you so much for the work that you've done all this time. And I think your reports have been great, and I really appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you for taking the interest to do this for us, for the children, and for the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Rocio.
Dr. Smith?
I would be remiss if I did not say the same thing. I think it's so important that the Education Committee takes this particular stance because it's, especially since the last chancellor mandated that literacy be taught. And a lot of people think that literacy should just be taught in lower and middle. A lot of high school students are not on level. And so at the teacher training, which I teach at 100, is that they should definitely make sure that before they give certification for teachers, that they have the course and the skill sets for teaching literacy. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much. So we have one resolution for schools and education before us. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this resolution to support the Literacy Academy Collective LAC schools and expand public investment in evidence-based literacy? Is there any unwillingness to vote? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Okay, that passes unanimously. Let's move on to our next report. So we have landmarks, and Susan Gammy is going to give the reports. There are 3. So we will take them one by one.
Okay, well, as everybody realizes, it was a big month for landmarks this month. We are going to start with 375 Lafayette Street. Before I read the resolve, I want to say 2 things, one of which is that this is a very important, it's important to note that this is one of the first applications to come to us after the expansions of the zoning. And, you know, it has particular import because of that. The other thing is that this is not, there will be an amendment. We have different language in Resolve E and an appendix that were added this afternoon based on some very significant and granular information that was provided to us by board members Carter Booth and Janine and Kylie. We wanted to make sure that that information was included. That was sent in this afternoon, but just because there was just so much, I believe, for the office to do, and so much for the committee to do, it didn't make it into the package. I believe Emma has that language and will be able to put it on the board. What I will read will be the different language in Resolve B. Okay. 375.
Just, sorry, really quickly, I just want to clear something up, that what is in the packet, what is online, is the language included in there. So there is, it has already been included. This is really part of an effort that we talked about as it was information that was shared at the committee. And this is something that the executive committee discussed extensively to move this meeting along and not have an hour's worth of adding in language that was discussed at the committee meeting. So that language is in here, and that is the idea, is to move this along. So that language has been included. What you have before you in your hands, from Mark's email to board members to what is on the site. There is no appendix. The appendix language is in this resolution to prevent a lot of back and forth. So please continue.
I don't think I understand what you just said, Valerie, because the link that I saw online and that all the community board received did not have that appendix.
So the language in the appendix is not in, there is no appendix. We don't do an appendix for a resolution. That language is in the it is in the whereases and is in the therefore be it resolved. I can tell you specifically that is under T and U.
What I don't understand is that this was decided and not communicated to either the chair or myself. All right, let's go ahead. 375 Lafayette Street, application is to construct a new as-of-right 19-story residential building on the existing parking lot site. The resolve, after many whereases, is A, denial of the application unless meaningful changes are made to reduce the actual bulk, keeping the minimum size necessary to preserve the proposed square footage for affordable housing apartments. And B, unless materials and detailing referencing historic design principles to reduce the perceived height and flatness and present a more harmonious appearance with the historic buildings adjacent across the street and in the neighborhood, and unless the large, highly visible north and east lot line facades are treated as primary facades in particular by eliminating the blank walls, and D, unless special care is taken to make considerable changes to provide a meaningful transition from the front portion of the building on Great Jones Street into the low-scale buildings along the street to the east. And E, I will read what is in the package, that the commission, as well as other city agencies empowered to do so, consider that the applicant has proposed a vastly oversized building without heeding the City of Yes mandate to provide additional housing units in its plan to build at or near the maximum FAR and not providing the maximum number of apartments permitted.
I'm sorry, Donna, do you have something you need to, can you use a microphone?
I'm not sure that's what's in the package.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Could we get a hard copy, Mark? The current hard copy?
I've got it here. Sorry, that was the language that we submitted this afternoon that apparently...
We're not hearing the person speaking.
Apologies. E, that the commission and other city agencies consider that the City of Yes housing opportunity was intended to build a little more housing in every neighborhood by providing increased FAR for that person. However, in this case, the applicant proposed a vastly oversized building utilizing at or near the maximum FAR, undermining the purpose of additional FAR provided by the City of Yes for housing opportunity, and overwhelming the NoHo Historic District extension in the process. The Commission and the City should recognize that the number of housing units at 375 Lafayette 20 Jones Street should meaningfully increase, and the project should be revised to reflect that intent. So that's...
Can we get a microphone to Dr. Smith?
I guess I don't quite understand what, I heard what you just said, but this that was just added is not part of your meeting?
No, that is incorrect. It was part of the meeting.
That it was added by Carter Engineering?
You could use the microphone. We could use the microphone. I'll call on Carter. Once we get him a microphone, he can speak.
Dr. Smith, I think you were on the executive committee last night. This is what we talked
We
about.
can't hear you. Can you get a better microphone for Carter?
You gotta speak right into it. That's a great microphone.
At the executive committee, we discussed this extensively, and I'm speaking. You were. That's what I said. I said you were at the executive committee where we discussed this. I'm answering the question. At the executive committee, we discussed this for an hour to save us all time. So that's so that we could put the language, instead of debating each little part of it, into the resolution, so it's all before you. And we discussed that at length, and everybody in the executive committee agreed that we wanted to save the time tonight, so that's why the language is in there. Nothing that is in there was not discussed at the landmarks meeting. I was at that meeting as well. It's all reflected in there, and all the discussion last night was so that we don't...
Last night being at executive.
Excuse me, 2 nights ago at executive, so that we don't keep having these extended discussions, so the language is all in front.
Can we get a microphone for Amy Brenna?
The content is substantially the same, it's just a question of how it's presented, that's all.
So,
That's really what it is.
Just so I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just repeating, so I want to make sure I'm understanding. So the committee voted.
Could you speak?
I am. Can you hear me? I'm talking in the microphone. The committee voted, sent something through, the executive committee discussed it, and in the interest of time, adjusted that content and sent it through. Did they vote on that, or?
So to be clear, this was a general discussion about how to move the meeting along so that our time is productive here, and that what is presented at the committee meeting but is perhaps not agreed on for some reason, things that were brought up were not put into the resolution. And so instead of us spending an hour, as we are starting to accumulate a little bit of time here on this, that we were trying to avoid, that instead of us having to workshop and wordsmith an amendment and having to put things on screen and people don't know what they're voting on, the executive committee agreed that we should try to move the meeting along accurately and within compliance of our bylaws and Robert's Rules of Order. And so that is what has happened here. Okay?
And just one further question.
Sure.
So the committee members were not made aware that that was happening at the executive committee, and what would be presented tonight is not what they voted on. Am I?
No, that's not accurate. That is actually not accurate.
Okay, no, that's
Yeah.
what I'm asking.
Sure.
So the committee members knew that this was being changed and presented tonight?
There's nothing being changed. There's nothing, these weren't,
You didn't vote on a resolution?
To be clear, the substance is the same. The substance is the same, it's just a matter, what this is a matter of how it is presented.
Have we lost Zoom?
How it is presented to the commission, because it's unusual in the sense that this is a situation which involves zoning, and that this is not a situation where you cannot cleanly separate out the landmarks issues from the zoning issues. And so how this gets presented to the commission in order for them to actually hear us, instead, us meaning as a community, as opposed to just shut us out by saying, you're not in your lane here on landmarks. So this is substantially the same in its content. We had provided tweaked some language and some formatting in a way that we thought would make it more easily heard and hopefully understood and agreed with at the commission, but apparently that is not the protocol that has been outlined now, so we will stick with this, but the content is substantially the same.
And to be clear, when we send out something that has been passed by this body from the full board as a board position, it comes not from one committee, it is the board's position. This is our voice, and it is not
it's not relegated to one agency. And so we will miss an opportunity as we continue to have more as-of-right development with Soho NoHo and City of Yes, where instead of having to bifurcate both the public's comments, I'm sorry, this is only land use, I'm sorry, this is only landmarks, that we hear it in one body and we ensure that we speak with one voice, irrespective. There is no separate something that goes to the LPC. This is what we are communicating, the whole picture to our elected officials. We have one chance to do that with one resolution. Any questions on that? Okay. Susanna, you had your hand raised. Okay. Chris, you had your hand raised. Will, did you have your hand raised? Okay.
Hi. 1 in every 100 children in New York City is born homeless. The solution to homelessness is homes. I'm voting no against this, and you all should too.
Thank you. Is anyone else, any board members want to speak? Janine? Then we'll call on Eddie and Ryder. Find yourself to a microphone.
I agree with Chris. I want more homes, and what I saw in this, and this is that the City of Yes Housing Opportunity gives a bump in FAR from 9.7 to 10.8. That's an increase of 77,000 square feet, but we're not getting more units. We're getting the same number of total units, and actually, and maybe even less, and you get 25% of that in terms of MIH. So you're getting more square footage, and not more housing. And because it was a landmarks application, there wasn't detail about how the square footage was broken out by use. But bottom line, we do want more housing. I want more housing, and I don't want people getting zoning bonuses and not having more units. Thank you.
May I speak
Thank
to
you.
Chris for a moment?
Sure.
I would like, Chris, I hope that we're all on the same, I believe we're all on the same page here. I just want to point out that the result very clearly says that the city should recognize that the number of housing units should meaningfully increase, and the project should be revised to reflect that intent. So I don't understand how that's opposed to increase in affordable housing.
Thank you, Susan. And Eddie? And then Ryder.
I was at the meeting. I think our neighborhood character is made up by the characters who inhabit it, and having more characters in our neighborhood would be fantastic. I think it's a mixed message in this resolution to say we want to maximize the amount of units we can get while simultaneously reducing the size and scale of the project. I would be full endorsement if the Landmarks Committee said we should keep it at its large size, let's maximize the FAR and maximize the units indeed, because we do care about that housing. I will also say,
If Ryder and Janine, if you could take your conversation outside, it is carrying over online. Thank you.
I will also say I find it slightly frustrating as we combine land use and landmarks matters, because as we are often reminded in discussing landmarks things, both at full board and also at the meeting that was discussed, is that the Landmarks Committee can only consider sort of the historic and aesthetic issues surrounding the project. I would have happily gotten on my housing soapbox at that meeting, but I didn't want to cross into a territory that was not meant for that meeting. So to be surprised 3 hours before this meeting, they're like, oh wow, we're actually talking about City of Yes policy. I would happily go to a joint session, to another session where we can understand how to have a position on City of Yes. And so to say that this is now a combined thing, I don't think is a productive way to spend our time. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a position on City of Yes. Katie? Ryder, sorry, Ryder. Ryder, go ahead.
Thanks.
I apologize. I should write this down.
No. Yeah, I joined the board about 7 years ago, and many times we've talked about how we are a pro-housing board. And yet, I find it somewhat frustrating that when we're given the opportunity to actually endorse the creation of housing in our district, we generally are opposed to it, whether it's Haven Green, Soho NoHo rezoning, City of Yes, the ballot props to speed affordable housing development. And so, the specific opportunities we have as a community that is relatively affluent, transit-rich, opportunity-rich to allow more people in, we generally turn those opportunities away. And it's striking to hear people say, you know, I'm unequivocally for more housing, I'm for more affordable housing, and yet this building should not be built, or it should be downscaled. But 200 units on a parking lot is exactly the kind of modest new housing we need. This is not, I mean, oversized is certainly subjective, but to me this does not seem like an oversized building. The idea of housing 200 more families and 50 families at a 60% AMI average. 60% AMI for 2 people is $77,000 a year. The median income for our district is $170,000 a year. You're telling me a couple that makes $77,000 a year shouldn't be given the chance to live in NoHo? I find it really frustrating, especially in light of what Chris said, but also average rents in Manhattan are over $5,700 now. You have to make $228,000 to not be rent burdened in Manhattan at those prices. 100,000 people sleep in shelter every night. We are choosing this. We've been choosing it for decades. And I find it really frustrating. I'll be voting no on this, and I hope we can kind of change our frame to how we think about what is preserving the character of a neighborhood. We might say this should stay a parking lot, but the character of the neighborhood is changing already.
I just have to
Thank
say
you,
that
Ryder.
nowhere in this resolution does it suggest that we are in favor of a parking lot.
Susan Wittenberg, could you get a microphone? I'm sorry, Katie, while Susan finds a microphone, let's hear from Katie.
Okay, I just do, you said a lot of things, Ryder, that I want to say. First of all, this is Community Board has approved 388 Hudson Street, which is going to be a lot of affordable housing units. We are working very hard to make Gansevoort Square get more housing in that area, more in a rational way. I sort of paid attention to you when you were talking. And also to have more affordable housing there. But I do want to point out, therefore be it resolved, A, both to you and to Chris, and to Eddie, that it says to preserve the proposed square footage for affordable housing apartments. So we're going to preserve what has been proposed for affordable housing, which is where the children would go. So I think we have to look at all the details of it, and there's a lot of good in this resolution, and I will be voting yes, very proudly. Susan, do you have a microphone now?
Yeah. Susan Wittenberg, and then Chenault has his hand up, so I'll call on him next.
Thank you. This parking lot has been something we've been watching for a very long time. We knew it was one of the largest potential development sites for housing in our district. The owner of the lot waited as long as they did for the upzoning, which happened. What's so disappointing about this is we're not getting enough housing on the site. We're getting the same amount of housing as we would have before the Soho NoHo rezoning. The point of the Soho NoHo rezoning was to create more housing on the site. That's what we want to have happen. So that's why we are voting no for this proposal, and we're hoping for a much better solution in this very important location for housing in our district. So we're not anti the housing. We want more. We're fighting for more. We don't feel that with this incredibly important site that we have to compromise and get less than we're hoping for.
And I just want to say in general, if we could just direct the comments not to individual board members, if we could just do it to the body, just to keep this on the up and up. Chenault.
I would like to speak after everyone else is finished. Are there others?
I'm calling on you now, so if you could speak now, that would be.
Okay.
If you have something to say, I don't know, your hand is up, so I'm calling on you to speak now.
I'm not clear what you're saying, Val.
I'm saying that if your hand is raised, I'm calling on you to speak.
I would like to speak
The
after
chair
everyone
directs the
else has
order of
spoken.
who speaks. So I've asked, you've raised your hand, so I'm allowing you, calling on you to speak.
I'll speak now then.
Great.
The intention of the resolution as put forward by the committee was to incorporate the concerns of whoever expressed concerns at the executive meeting and put it in a way that it was a resolution that the mission could use and made um, and followed the regulations of what a landmark committee does and what a landmarks commission does, and at the same time preserve intact all of the and nuances that were mentioned at the meeting. That was
I'm getting a message that it's difficult to hear the room from Zoom. Just,
I'm sorry you've gone very the
just
microphone.
letting the team know. Thanks. Okay, thank you, Chanel. So next, is there anyone else who wishes to speak or comment on this one resolution from the Landmarks One report? Is there any unwillingness to vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Could you call them out?
Okay, folks, as usual, I'll call your name and you can put your hand down, but keep it up until then if you don't mind, okay? Okay, Ryder, DJ, Erica, Janet, Chris, Paul, just on the edge of the pole there, Rocio, thank you, Eddie, Will, anyone I did not call, anybody I missed? Myself, sorry, excuse me, Emma, but anybody else? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the opposed. Do we have any abstentions? Do we have any recusals? Okay, we have a recusal. Can we get a microphone to Rich? So you can state the recusal. Thank you.
Minskoff is the landlord of my office.
Okay, thank you. We have that down for the record. Thank you so much. Could you give the vote count, please, and let us so we know if this.
Yeah, one moment, if you don't mind. That is 24 yes, 10 no, 1 recusal.
Thank you so much. This passes. Moving on to Landmarks and Public Aesthetics Committee, report number 2.
Okay, number 2. The first application was 52 Gansworth Street, application to install a painted wall sign. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends approval of the painted wall sign. That was unanimous. The big one, of course, is 27 East 4th Street. The application is to demolish an existing building and to construct a new building.
Excuse me, Susan, could you call just a little closer?
Sure.
Thank you.
Application to demolish an existing building and to construct a new building, which was an office building, by the way, not an apartment building. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends A, denial of the application that, with its excavation, construction, appearance, and all, would cause irreparable aesthetic and structural harm to the Merchants House Museum, an individual exterior and interior landmark with an important historic connection to the Underground Railroad. And B, that the Commission recommend to the appropriate municipal agency that the lot be purchased by the city and used for a purpose that preserves and enhances the city-owned Merchants House, to provide administrative space that will enable the entire house to be open to the public and to further its mission to serve the public through its education programs and exhibitions. And that was unanimous.
Is there any comments? Does anyone want to call out? We have 2 here. So does anyone want to call out either of these? Otherwise, we'll take them in an omnibus vote if there's no objection from this body. Okay, Will? Will, can we get Will a microphone? Thank you, Mark.
Thanks. I just wanted to call out number 2. I just had a comment on it.
Okay, so if there's no, let's then take care of number 1. So if there's no unwillingness to vote on agenda item number 1 on landmarks 2, 52 Gansevoort Street, is there any comment? Otherwise, I'm not seeing any unwillingness to vote. So all those in favor, I'm sorry? Okay, thank you. Chenault?
Sorry, I thought we were voting on 1. Did I misunderstand?
I'm sorry? I can't hear.
I thought we were voting on number 1. Did I
We
misunderstand?
are voting on number 1. I asked if there was any unwillingness to vote on the first resolution, 52 Gansevoort Street. Seeing none, all those in favor for 52 Gansevoort Street resolution number 1 on landmarks 2? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions, recusals? I can't read hand votes, so you've got to be vocal on Zoom for Emma. It's hard to see if you're voting, so if you could please be audible when you vote. Thank you. So all those in favor, we had aye. Opposed? Abstentions, recusals? Sean, when were you raising your hand for? It was not clear. That's why we asked to be audible when I'm calling out the vote. If you could
Yes,
just let us
approve.
know your vote.
I vote approval.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so that passes unanimously. Now we will go to agenda item number 2, 27 East 4th Street, which is the Merchant's House Museum. Any discussion or comments? Will Ganesh?
Yeah, thanks. So I just wanted to call this out. I mean, I know there were a lot of speakers on the prior item we just voted on as well as this one. I voted no on the one we just voted on. I am going to be voting yes for this one. And I think it's a crucial function of what we do to preserve one-of-a-kind landmarks like the Merchant's House Museum. I don't think we had the same issue on the last one we voted on in terms of preserving a specific vital landmark. So I think regardless of what we think about the facade and the landmark aspects of this particular one, I'm voting yes to support it. I think we should do everything in our power to make sure that the Merchant's House is preserved and doesn't have any risk whatsoever of damage. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Chenault?
2 points on this one. It is an individual landmark, and as such, the committee is responsible for it, and the commission is responsible for it. So this is, as is in the resolution, an enormous amount of I've picked off 16 people, and then I had to go away, so more spoke. That the protection of the house is the overriding concern. And the other is that with the recent coming to light about the Underground Railroad, I looked into the sort of qualifications for historic landmark, and it's likely that this house would be landmarked simply on the historic side, as was the case with the Stonewall Inn, completely apart from the fact that it's already a double individual landmark. So it really qualifies on 3 counts to be protected totally. And we have also not unreasonably offered an alternative in the resolution to
Thank you, Chenault.
thank you.
And it goes without saying, thank you to the Landmarks and Public Aesthetics Committee. They had 3 meetings last week. It goes without saying, that is a lot of work. So thank you, my belated thank you to everyone that serves on that committee and leads it. So is there any further, yes, that is very much. One more, I know, we still got to vote on this one. So is there any further discussion or comments on 27 East 4th Street, the Merchant's House Museum? Next to the Merchant's House Museum. Sorry, this is, apologies for that discrepancy. If there's any, seeing there's no unwillingness to vote, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. The next we go to the third and final Landmarks and Public Aesthetics Committee report.
Okay, the first proposal is 3 East 10th Street. Application is to replace windows and install a rooftop pergola. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial of the pergola unless the structure is more delicate, is painted a color that minimizes its appearance, and that the louvers are fixed in a partially open position that does not obscure the sky. And B, that the plantings masking the mechanical equipment be backed with a fence that will serve to mask the equipment in the absence of the plantings. Unanimous. 220 King Street, application is to restore the King Street facade, construct a 2-story rear yard addition and terrace above the new addition, construct a roof stair bulkhead, install rooftop railings, adjust the rear mansard roof on the 3rd floor, and replace all windows and install a stoop gate. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial of the non-historic metal windows, and that instead that they be in historic wood design. And B, denial of the stoop gate unless it is divided with only the west side normally operable to clear the existing tree pit and provide pedestrian passage. And C, approval of the rear extension and rooftop bulkhead. That was unanimous. Number 3, 354 Bowery, application is to construct a cantilever over 354 Bowery as part of a new residential building not included in the NoHo Historic District extension at 56 Great Jones Street. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial of this application as an unwelcome intrusion into a landmark district from a building in a carve-out position of the district that has admittedly made no effort to be harmonious with the district. The vote was unanimous. Number 4, 69 Gansevoort Street, application to enlarge the existing partial depth 2nd floor forward with a 6-foot setback from the front facade, add a partially visible full-width rear bulkhead and a partial green roof, restore the front facade, and alter windows and door openings and elements. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial of the application as totally unsuitable for the building and the historic district. 125 Grand Street, application is to construct a rooftop addition. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends approval of the addition of a modest penthouse, provided that the ventilation ducts from the neighboring building are not blocked or are relocated. Unanimous. And then after those, there was a discussion about the police athletic. This is not part of the resolution, so I don't know if you want me to go on with that.
Nope, that will be presented. So please cross out the 6 and the vote at the bottom, as there is a statement in the H that says that that a written statement will be submitted for the board to consider at a later time, as this was not an application. So we have 5 resolutions to vote on. Are there any resolutions to call out? Otherwise, we will take these in an omnibus. I see a hand raised. I can't see what is. Ryder, can we get Ryder a microphone? Can we just, I need it to be said publicly.
I'd like to call out number 3.
Okay, great. So let's take, so we're calling out number 3. So let's take number 1, 3 East 10th Street. Let's take number 2, 20 King Street. Let's take number 4, 69 Gansevoort Street, and number 5, 125 Grand Street in an omnibus. Is there any unwillingness to vote on number 1, 2, 4, and 5? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Let's open up the floor for number 3, which is 355 Bowery, 56 Great Jones Street. Ryder.
Thanks. I'll try to keep it quick. I'm expressing skepticism about this one for similar reasons as the one I spoke about earlier, and just noting that one of the whereas this here makes the point that this building is problematic because it includes more housing than originally projected under the rezoning, whereas we earlier criticized the building for potentially not maximizing the housing under the allowed increase in zoning capacity. And so I think that's just notable, and sometimes it feels like these are pretexts for saying no to new homes. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryder. Is there any further comment or discussion on number 354 Bowery, 56 Great Jones Street?
I'm
Oh,
so
sure.
sorry.
I can call you.
And I do have
Sure.
to point out that this is not a criticism, that there is no implication that this community board within this resolution is dismissing, putting down, or disapproving of the fact that there's more housing here. Just to set the record straight. And also, I want to make it very clear that the applicant was unwilling to actually commit to what this would actually translate into, and there was no way to ascertain that this would actually create more units, or that it might just not be a redistribute in terms of affordable housing. What they might do is redistribute a certain amount of affordable square footage to already existing apartments, but they would not commit to actually creating more affordable units per se.
Thank you, Susan Chenault.
This, come on, this application is important for another reason, that we're setting a precedent. It's the first that I believe we've ever had that involved a cantilever. And in this case, I'm sorry, no, a cantilever from a non-landmark district into a landmark district. So it's the first intrusion from outside of a district that has, apart from being a neighbor, affected. It's important that this is a carve-out, whereas the first application at Lafayette Street was a section within the landmark district. In both cases, their oversizeness is occasioned by the zoning changes. So that's the first time that we've met with this new.
We can't hear you very well, Chenault. I'll continue with that point because we can't really hear Chenault very well.
Chenault needs to lean into
the point is that what is extraordinary about this application is that we were simply opining on 8 feet of a cantilever into a historic district from the as of right building. So we're only talking about an 8-foot sliver part-way up on that facade, which is exceptional and without precedent because it intrudes into the historic district, which is a very unusual, because on this particular block, due to the odd carve-outs of the designation of the district, we're looking at 2 as-of-right buildings on each corner, yet in the middle of the block, there is historic designation, and this proposed cantilever intrudes into the historic, what is technically the historic district. Also, it's very surprising that it's just an 8-foot cantilever. We're very concerned about the precedent of cantilevers into historic, of cantilevered modern buildings into historic districts when there is no precedent in this or any other designated historic district within Community Board 2.
Thank you. Is there any further comment or discussion from full board members? Could we get Carter Booth a microphone, and then we can continue and move this along?
And I had brought this up at the meeting, which is reflected in the reso, but the board was very concerned when there were these carve-outs, not that there would be development, the development fits in with the neighborhood. What's happening here is we've had multiple, never would have been foreseen at that time, increases in allowable FAR through rezoning, through City of Yes, and all these sites have excess development, and they're not creating excess housing. They're simply using the excess development to only have up to the maximum units required to build. And this area, in particular, the housing that has been generated over the last 20 years has predominantly been by special permit, and there was a requirement of having a minimum size of 1,200 square feet in each of the units. Here, we see many more larger units, but the developers are choosing not to fill in the smaller housing units, which are, in fact, more reachable from people in this neighborhood who would like to move here, even if they have higher incomes, and instead we end up with all these very large apartments and a small subset of affordable units. But what we need is a diversity of housing sizes as well. So the developers here are leaving a lot on the table. And here we have an intrusion into the historic district that the developer had not said would actually be used to create more housing units. They were saying it is for more housing square footage. And that is the difference here of what we're basically hearing. They acquired all these extra housing rights, but none of that money, that went into somebody's pocket, unlike all the other cantilever buildings that you see in New York City, where the cantilevers, those development rights went to support the individual landmark units that they went over. So there's a lot of different issues here, but ultimately this issue is, if the building isn't interested in even remotely somehow acknowledging the historic district within their, in which they're abutting on both sides, why should they be permitted to go into it without making the whole building fit more into some of the historic characteristics? And that's a design element that's there. It's not an issue of housing or anything else. And so if you're going to get the extra square footage, relate to the district if you're going to go into it. If you're not, don't. I mean, to me, that's not complicated. And they told us they had no interest in relating to the historic district, and they had no interest in telling us that there would be an increase in the number of housing units.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Shinalda. He's had his hand raised, and we'll go to Will. Chenault.
Are you calling me now?
Chenault.
Yes.
It's your turn. Maybe take
Just
a
to
second,
amplify on
please, so
what
that you can be
Susan
heard.
said about the overhang. And I said earlier about the precedent, the amount of overhang, we did not question about why it's as big or as small as it is. That's what they asked for. However, the particular vulnerability of landmark districts is that they tend to have low houses, so that it could be something that expands and expands and expands. And we want to avoid that by setting a precedent. Don't overhang into a landmark district as a categorical denial. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Will.
Thanks. So I just want to make sure I understand, because I think this is actually a really fascinating situation. So the building itself is not in a landmark district other than the cantilever, which is basically going into the airspace within a landmark district, the landmark district, right?
Yes,
so
you
we would have no opinion from, we can't have an opinion from the landmarks committee on the building itself, correct? So but I mean, it wouldn't have come to us, like the building itself is what I'm asking.
The reason it came to us is for the reason that you just stated. What is somewhat audacious about this application is that the applicant seeks to intrude into the landmarks district without offering even to make a nod visually to the fact that it is in a historic district. So it's a big ask. Hey, I want to go into your landmark district while I build a building that almost proudly says I don't belong here.
Do we know if is there anything in the landmarks law that alludes to this? I mean, it's a really interesting case. And do we know if it's happened anywhere else outside of CB2 and other landmark districts?
We don't know about other landmark districts, but I explicitly asked the applicant if they could reference any other situation within a historic district within CB2 where there was a cantilever that extended over a historic district, and they said no.
All right. Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Great, thank you so much. I just want to quickly As we are moving this along, just to update my further remark, citing from Robert's Rules of Order, from the revised edition, about addressing remarks. So speakers must address their remarks, this is on page 43. Section 20, speakers must address their remarks to the chair, maintain a courteous tone, and especially in reference to any divergence of opinion, should avoid injecting a personal note into debate. To this end, they must never attack or make allusion to the motives of members. As already noted, speakers should refer to officers only by title and should avoid the mention of other members' names as much as possible. Thank you. Chris, could we get a microphone?
Whatever. So the current number of homeless students in all 5 boroughs is at 154,000 last time I checked. Debating whether or not a cantilever will prevent them from continuing to be homeless negates the actual fact that once you continue to not build homes, they will not be in a home. I will be voting against this as well, and you should too.
I'm sorry? Okay. Great.
It wasn't clear, I'm sorry. What did I say? To the front of the room.
Chris, could you repeat what you said? I think you also said whatever when you started out. Did I hear?
No,
Oh, okay. Okay. I just heard someone was just.
Somebody say whatever. I said that there are 154,000 students that are homeless in all 5 boroughs. When we talk about a cantilever instead of building homes, the only solution to homelessness is homes. So when we talk about something else instead of an actual solution, we are preventing the actual solution from happening. I'm not going to be voting anything but no on this, and I think people should also be voting no.
Thank you. Do we have any further comments or discussion from the body, from board members on resolution number 3, 354 Bowery at 56 Great Jones Street? Is there any unwillingness to vote on this resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, folks.
Chris, you put your hand down. Rocio, thank you. Ryder, thank you. Eddie. TJ. Are there any hands that I missed? Oh, Jen. Oh, okay. I think that's next. But any other no's?
Maybe we know the tally.
Can you read them out? Just, there seems to be.
Yep. Chris, Rocio, Ryder, Eddie, and DJ voted no.
Okay.
Anybody I missed?
Great. So we've done those that were in favor. We've done those opposed. Do we have any abstentions? We have a hand raised.
Yep. Okay. Janet, I got you as abstaining. I'm also abstaining.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Any abstentions online? Okay. And then any recusals? Okay. Seeing none, that passes with the, but what was the no vote count? What's the vote count?
5 no's.
5 no's. Thank you. Next, we will go to street activities and resiliency, moving this meeting right along.
Okay, best part of the meeting, right?
And just to therefore be it resolved. Thank you.
So we had, this should actually be changed to virtual only. There was no one in the CB2 office because it was very cold. 12 applications, 11 appeared virtually. Number 1, February 6th, Coffee and Clothes ex Laneige. Ran between Thompson and West Broadway. That was unanimous deny due to lack of pedestrian right of way. 2, 3, DKNY Little Street Sweet Treat, February 6th and 7th. 2 different locations there. Those were both unanimous approved. We added in our, this is for all of these, therefore be resolved, we added a particular note about snow and ice conditions, calling out that in some cases, SAPO should essentially take extra care to make sure that there's a bike pedestrian walkway. when snow is plowed on the curbs. That's for every one of them that we've approved. Number 4, February 6th, Team by 2, Mercer between Broome and Grand, unanimous deny no-show. Number 5, February 10th through 12th, Carolina Herrera Fashion Show, Little West 12th between 9th and 10th Ave. That was unanimous approved. Number 6, February 10th through 12th, Near Mew, West 13th between 9th Avenue and Washington Street, unanimous approved. Number 7, Poly Market store, February 12th through 16th, unanimous approved. They didn't follow by the way what they said they were going to. We did mention that to SAPO afterwards. Number 8, February 13th through 14th, Kayali at 575 Broadway between Prince and West Houston, unanimous approved. Number 9, February 13th through 14th, Mirror Green Street between Canal and Grand, unanimous approved. 10th, February 14th, Briogeo Consumer Activation, Worcester between Canal and Grand, Grand between West Broadway and Worcester, unanimous approved. They also agreed to move the queue into the curb lane to maintain the 5-foot pedestrian walkway. These are all unanimous, by the way, I should have mentioned. Number 11, February 15th, Bronx and Banco, Fashion Week, West 14th between 10th Ave and Washington Street. Unanimous approved. That also, we should have noted on there that they had mentioned they were turning that into a full street application because it's actually a full street closure. And then number 12, March 6th through 7th, First Job Confessional, Gansevoort Plaza. That was a unanimous approved. And then all the FYI renewals, as you can see on here, were unanimously approved.
Okay, great. Are there any that people want to call out? Shirley, could we get a microphone to Shirley? Would you like to call any out?
Well,
because in order to have questions, we need to call out.
I'd like to just call out number 1.
Great. Okay, so let's call out number 1. Are there any others that people would like to call out? Otherwise, we're going to take a vote, omnibus vote on the other ones, and we'll go back to number 1. Is that all right? Okay, so we're calling out number 1, and let me go. I've lost my page 1 and 2. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so we are going to now take a vote on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the FYI renewals, 13 through 21. Any unwillingness to vote on those? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Donna? You have an abstention? Okay, no abstentions, a recusal?
Items 5, 11, 12, and 6. I sit on the meatpacking bid board as a voting member.
Can you just repeat those back, Emma?
5, 11, 12, and 6.
Thank you, and maybe get her a microphone because she'll need one shortly. And then, just so I have this in order, number 1, that vote will be a roll call vote. So when we get to it.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I forgot we have SLA. Sorry, it's 9:50. I apologize. Continue. Let's go to number 1. I know. I'm so sorry. Thanks, Shirley.
You know what? I'm calling out number 1, not really to speak against the decision, but just in terms of this being a glaring kind of problem with lack of access because of narrowness of the street. In other words, what my concern really is that we are denying this, but it's way after the fact. So the first thing is a question as to this, did this go ahead and happen anyhow?
Yeah, so you bring up a good point. I mean, I mentioned this exact, but I think one of the issues that our committee is dealing with now more so than ever is these pop-up events, which technically are events that happen inside, so they're not street events, but they draw lines and crowds that do impact the street and the sidewalks and the curb lanes. So we're trying to figure out ways to deal with them. We can tell SAPO comments without, we can put in, hey, by the way, we don't think this sidewalk is 5 feet. That's not a reso, so we do tell them that, and they know about this location. We've also highlighted to Chris Marte's office certain problematic pop-up locations like this one, where it's just impossible to maintain pedestrian walkway for events there. we can't tell people that they're not allowed to rent a private space, but we're trying to figure out other, ways to deal with it and make people more aware of the
You know,
problem. I mean, there's no
my
easy
concern
solution.
is whether you can
Yeah.
even get
There's
it
no easy
done
solution.
since it's after the fact. So the follow-up
But we can put in
is,
notes before the fact, yeah.
You
which
can
we
what?
do. We can put in notes like, hey, this is not a 5-foot sidewalk before the fact, which we do, in the SAPO portal.
in the same, okay, so what are the possibilities of having SAPO follow up in this in an honorable way?
I mean, look, again, it's, they'll probably say, I don't know what they'll say. I mean, all we can do is try to keep pointing this out.
Great, thanks.
So it's same old, same old.
Okay, Rocio, can we get a microphone to Rocio?
I think the answer is we have to be consistent, so that's why, whether it's before the fact or right now, we have to be consistent in our resolutions. Thank you.
Great, is there any further debate or comments or discussion on street activities resolution number 1? Seeing none, is there any unwillingness to vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? And next we'll go to SLA 1. Can we get a separate microphone?
Here, take this one.
You want me to go? Okay, I'll go.
Let's go for SLA 1, right?
SLA 1. All right, so we met on February 3rd, 16 applications, 10 decisions, the rest were layovers or withdrawals, all the decisions were unanimous. 6971 Mac LLC, 6971 McDougal Street, on-premise for a restaurant, denying us with stipulations. General Meal JP LLC.
Can you name them, please?
Number 2,
If
General
we
Meal
could
JP.
not yell out, because it is out of order, so again, if you could raise your hand,
It's
yelling
okay.
out is
It's all
inappropriate.
right, I got it. Number 2, General Meal JP LLC, 177 Lafayette Street, Suite 100S. This is a restaurant wine, previously unlicensed location, deny. Nuri NYC LLC, 137 Sullivan Street, restaurant wine, deny unless with stipulations. DH9 Crosby LLC and Crescent Hotel Management Services LLC, doing business as Nomo Soho at 9 Crosby Street, also known as 150 Lafayette Street. It's an on-premise hotel. It's a transfer application, deny unless with stipulations. Soho Hotel Owner LLC and Soho Hotel Manager LLC, doing business as 11 Howard. The Blonde, 138 Lafayette Street, on-premise for hotel. It's an alteration to add the ground floor restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. For James Hotel Leaseco LLC, Highgate Hotels LP, doing business as Modern House Soho, Jumpin' Jacks and Jimmy, 2327 Grand Street. This is an on-premise hotel and lounge. The alteration was to remove the ground floor and cellar restaurants. It's never different spaces, deny unless with stipulations. Tola Pink Corp., 32 Spring Street, on-premise for restaurants, deny unless with stipulations. Solita Group LLC, doing business as Buena Note, 120 Mulberry Street, on-premise for restaurant. It's a transfer, deny unless with stipulations. Corvette LLC, 10 Downing Street, alteration to add sidewalk seating. Their appearance was waived, deny unless with stipulations. And Damsel LLC, doing business as Lords, 506 Concordia Place, number 10, appearance waived, deny unless with stipulations. The rest were 11 to 16 were layovers or withdrawals.
Okay, so does anyone want to call any of the items out, any of the resolutions out on SLA 1? Otherwise, we'll take them in an omnibus. If you'd like to debate any of the resolution, we call it out. So just making sure that's clear to everyone as Robert's Rules of Order, if you're not familiar. Okay, so we're going to take for SLA 1, resolutions 1 through, what does it go through? 1
through 10 and then 11 to 16.
Okay, 1 through 10 and then 11 through 16 with our the layos, withdrawals, etc. Seeing no unwillingness to vote, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals?
Excuse me.
Those resolutions pass unanimously. SLA 2.
Okay, SLA 2. We met on February 5th. 20 applications, 12 decisions. The rest were layovers or withdrawals. All decisions were unanimous. Pandera Pandaria LLC, doing business as Dragon, 13 Barrow Street, on-premise for restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. St. Jardine LLC, doing business as St. Jardine, 183 West 10th Street, store number 1, also known as 233 West 4th. Alteration to add sidewalk seating, that was deny unless with steps. Number 3, Borough Hospitality LLC, doing business as Nadia's, 555 Greenwich Street, on-premise for a restaurant, previously unlicensed location, deny unless with stipulations. Number 4, 192 Cafe LLC, 192 7th Avenue South, on-premise for tavern, it's a transfer, deny unless with stipulations. Number 5, LPB Pasta Shop LLC, doing business as La Pecora Bianca, 117 7th Avenue South, it's an on-premise restaurant, transfer, deny unless with stipulations. Miles on Hudson LLC, 435 Hudson Street, on-premise for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. Number 7, SH Resto, New York City Corp., 418 to 420 West 13th Street, on-premise for a restaurant, that's deny unless with stipulations. 8, Slice West Village, LTD, doing business as Slice, The Perfect Food, 535 Hudson Street. That was an alteration to add the adjacent storefront, re-notification, we waived appearance, we heard it in May 2025, deny unless with stipulations. AV 7th Avenue LLC, doing business as Al Antico Vineo at 89 7th Avenue South. It's a Tavern 1 license with sidewalk seating, this was a reconsideration, we waived the appearance, we heard them in June 2025. The full, we voted at committee, deny unless with stipulations. When we did it in June 2025, we denied the resolution because they didn't have a bathroom. This was the one with the bathroom around the block. And they have now, and they also wouldn't close their outdoor at 10 p.m. like everybody else was doing, and they signed stipulations to close at 10, and they now have a bathroom. So that's deny unless with stipulations. Glen Industry West Village LLC, doing business as Glen Industry Pizzeria at 104 Christopher Street, Tavern Wine. This was a corporate change. We waived their appearance, and they signed a stipulation agreement, which they had not signed previously, so that's deny unless with stipulations. Zandra Hospitality LLC, doing business as Caban, 300 Spring Street. This was an alteration to add sidewalk seating. Their appearance was waived, deny unless with stipulations. And Joseph & Joseph Inc., doing business as Taco Mahal at 73 7th Avenue South. This is a corporate change, and the appearance was waived. We have stipulations on file for them. Nobody, the person who signed them is still there. And then items 13 to 20 are either layovers or withdrawals.
And did you introduce the last one, or the one you mentioned? We'll just do it with this. You want to introduce it?
Okay, so I have one that's new business. We did not have a quorum. I just want to say one thing. The SLA committee is a lot of...
Could you call out what number it is?
Well, 21 or 1, however you want to do
okay.
it. Shintakumi, Inc., 44 Greenwich Avenue, wine, beer, and cider, restaurant, previously unlicensed location. Is there anything else I need to say?
No. Thank you. Okay, does anyone want to call any of those resolutions out from the SLA2 report? When I ask for call out, that means it's so they can be debated on the floor. I don't want to stifle debate, so I'm not seeing anyone wanting to call out any of these. Otherwise, we will take them as an omnibus, and not seeing any objection to that, and not seeing any unwillingness to vote. If you do have an unwillingness to vote, please raise your hand at this time. Seeing none, so we will take resolutions 1 through
1 through 12, and then 13 to 20 are layovers or withdrawals.
1 through 12, and then 13 to 20, which are layovers and withdrawals, and the number 21 that has been introduced. So since this is our last vote, I'm going to hand it over to the secretary to take the vote.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. Susanna Aaron.
Yay. Yes, I'm all.
Thank you. Will Benesh.
Yes, on all.
King Berger.
Yes to all.
Carter Booth.
Yes, to all.
Katie Bordenaro.
Yes to all.
Anita Brandt.
Yes, also all.
Amy Brenna.
Yes to all.
Rich Capapolo. Valerie De La Rosa.
Yes to all.
Chris Dignan.
Yes.
Mara Fitzgerald.
Yes to all.
Cormac Glenn.
Yes to all.
Susan Gammy.
Yes to all.
DJ James.
Yes to all.
Susan Kemp.
Yes to all.
Ryder Kessler.
Yes to all.
Janine Kiley.
Yes to all.
Patricia Laria.
Yes to all.
Janet Lipp.
Yes to all.
Paul McDade.
Yes to all.
Erica Olson.
Yes to all.
Brian Pape?
Yes to all.
Thanks, Brian. Donna Raftery? Yes to all. Lois Raffoff?
Yes to all.
Rocio San?
Yes to all.
Shirley Secunda?
Yes to all.
Eddie Siegel?
Yes to all.
Frederica Siegel? Emma Smith? Yes to all. Dr. Shirley Smith? Chenault Spence?
Yes.
Thanks, Chenault. Sean Sweeney?
Yes to all.
Thanks, Sean. Susan Wittenberg?
Yes to all.
Anthony Wong? Eugene Yu? Thank you.
Did you get my vote? I don't remember. Okay.
He said yes to all.
Thanks.
Okay, is there any new business?
Yes.
We just voted on that. We voted on that one. We voted on that one. Right, it was clear that we
Can I
voted on
say
number
one
21?
thing? I
Okay.
did want to say one thing.
Of course. Okay, I'm sorry.
So I'd appreciate being able to say
Sure.
that. The reason we had new business is we didn't have quorum for the first item, and I just want to say that this is the first time, I don't think, as far as I can remember, that the SLA committee has not had quorum. We meet in person all the time. It is a lot of work. I want to thank everybody on the committee for doing the work that they do and for showing up all the time, because to have quorum all the time, and especially when you're meeting in person, is pretty impressive. So I just want to thank the committee.
Thank you.
Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith, can we give the microphone to Dr. Smith?
I don't have one. Hang on a second.
Can I keep it in yours? Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you to Donna for all of the work that you did.
It's a great committee to serve on. It's run very well. Thank you, Donna, for all your work and all of the committee members. So with that, I'm seeing no other new business. There's reports without resolutions. We're not going to go over those. You can read those in your packets for Parks and Waterfront. Thank you, Rich, and the Parks and Waterfront Committee. Traffic and Transportation. Thank you, Janine, and that committee. And is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, I'm seeing Janine and Susanna Aaron with the second. So with that, this meeting is adjourned at 10:04 p.m. Thank you all so much in the room and online.